I was lucky enough to grow up in what I would assume is the golden era of Premier League football, the Barclays era. Clubs like Birmingham City, Wigan Athletic, Derby County and Stoke City were mainstays in the Premier League and were some of the best teams to watch based on pure vibes. Stoke playing 4-4-2 long ball, Wigan just having like Barclaysmen like Charles and Zogbia in the team, Derby County having the worst Premier League season ever, and Birmingham, well, just being Birmingham. And I've rebuilt all four of these sides over the last few months, and today is a compilation of how I beat each of these sides into some of the best teams the Premier League has ever seen. Stoke City are one of them teams that everyone born in the late 90s, early 2000s loves, because their football back in the day was horrible. It was 4-4-2, it was long ball, it was crosses into Peter Crouch, it was having 6'4" left backs. And today, we are rebuilding Stoke in that exact manner. It was famously said by Peter Crouch on the Fellas podcast that Stoke, in their prime, would give a prime Barcelona a good game purely because how dirty they would be, how difficult they'd make the game, they'd leave the grass too long, the dark arts of football. And today I'm looking to rebuild Stoke into that exact side. We're playing a 4-4-2. I'm only allowed to sign players over 6 foot, and the end goal is winning the Premier League. And with that, it's going to be quite difficult because ever since their 9 years of being a mid-table Premier League side, they've become a lower mid-table championship side, which isn't exactly what you want to see. And I have to admit, when going through this team, there's not many players there that excite me in the slightest in terms of quality or in terms of playing Stoke ball. So there's a lot to change here. We have got a decent strike partnership with Ryan Marmay up front, who is 6'2", and he's going to fit into that target forward role for now. Ideally, I want myself a Peter Crouch, a 6'7" demon up there, who is going to be an absolute nightmare for defenders. While Tom Cannon, we know he can score goals from real life. He scored 4 the other night in one game. Hopefully he can do that for us this season, although he is only on loan, and I don't imagine the money here at Stoke is fantastic. We have got 2 wingers who are fairly decent. Milan Manawef, I think, is a fantastic player in FM, and while I can't sign anyone over 6 foot, I can keep some, and I think Milan will be one of the only players which stays at the club. He's got great pace, great dribbling, great crossing, and great determination, and I think down that left-hand side or right-hand side, because he is right-footed, he will be absolutely brilliant. For now, Lyndon Gooch is at right mid. Not a massive fan, he's not fantastic. In midfield, we've got Ben Pearson, whose stats look great, but he's 5'9". He's not going to make it in this team. He's going to go pretty swifty, even if he is very good. And next to him is Wouterberger, who is going to stay around. A 6'3" big Dutch central midfielder. We need 2 of them in there, not just one. The defence is simply set up to get the ball and get rid. 2 central defenders in Ben Wilmot and Ben Gibson, with Seco at right back and Edna Stevens at left back. Their choices are not even to really overlap, but cross from deep and get it into the box. And that's exactly what you can see we're doing with the possession tactics. Hit early crosses, play direct, out wide, play for set pieces, play as wide as possible, and just be a get stuck in dirty team. I've got no idea how this tactic is going to work, let alone the actual team. We obviously need to buy players to make this tactic much better. For now, it's going to be okay. I'm looking to, break into maybe just outside the playoffs this season. Stoke are actually predicted to finish in 13th, so better than they've done in recent years. So I'd like to think we could get in around this sort of 8th, 9th, 10th role here. West Brom, Watford and Blackburn. Not looking to really get promoted this season. It would be way too early for this team. But as mentioned, the rules of this save are pretty simple. 4-4-2 only, signing players over 6 foot and winning the Premier League. So can we do it? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's get into season 1. And well, this is exactly how we are looking to play in this game against West Brom. Get the ball down the line and whip it in. And we are going to absolutely destroy, and we are going to show this game because it is perfect. We are playing long ball. We are getting in behind to the strikers and we are scoring goals. Don't be wrong, we want to see more headers, but when our strikers are only 6'2" and 5'11", I'm not expecting it all the time. We can do slide rule passes like that as well, and Jermaine Defoe was fantastic at them, and Tom Cannon has proven exactly why he could be fantastic as well. A great ball there from Milan Manawef to Marmay, who makes it 4-0, and by the way, this is 25 minutes in. It's absolutely broken. Playing long ball meta is apparently the way. It does eventually become 4-1. But that high press system we have got in has made it 5-1 pretty quickly. And Marmay and Cannon are linking up fantastically. Not really too many headers in there. Not really many dirty challenges. But 5-1. Both our strikers grabbing a hat-trick and a brace. That's pretty perfect. And the other thing that I wanted to see this season was for our home form to be fantastic. And as things stand, we are the best team at home in the league. And that is absolutely perfect. We finished in the playoffs. It was just based on home form, but it's not. So we finished in 9th place on 69 points, pretty much exactly where I was looking to finish, just outside the playoffs, around 7 or 8 points. And Ryan Mame was our top goal scorer and the league's top goal scorer on 26 goals, 27 in all competitions. He suited this tactic down to an absolute T, and I hope he's going to stay here as well, because he isn't happy. I think he just wants a new contract. We'll sort that out, because he was unbelievable. And if we can get him as our little striker at 6'2" and get an absolute monster next to him, that would be fantastic, because we'll be going to the absolute moon if that is the case. We have got £5 million to spend and £9,000 in wage budget, which is great to see. Stoke actually have a little bit of money. And in terms of the team, there are some players in here which I would certainly consider selling. I mean, Victor Johansson, we can't have our goalkeeper being 6'1", regardless of how good he is. It doesn't fit the bill. Takuse Seiko, 5'9", you're gone. I mean, Edna Stevens at 6 foot, yeah, he's decent, but he's just way too old. So you're gone as well. Lyndon Gooch, you're gone. I think for now I'm going to have to keep Ben Pearson and Wout Berger because they were so good last season. Milan Manouef as well is really going to go over to that right mid position. Tom Cannon, sadly, even though scoring 15 goals, 10 assists, I'd love to bring him back. Sadly, is going to have to go. Same for Ashley Phillips as well. 6'4", was a great centre-back this season, but just way too expensive. 36 million, we don't have that sort of money. So you can see there are some key positions that need filling. We need that target forward. We need a big left winger and 2 big fullbacks and a big goalkeeper. So let's see what we can bring in. Well, first of all, we had to raise the money. So Victor Johansson left the club for 12 million quid to Altai. That's an absolute great deal for us. He is a fantastic goalkeeper, and while this is not a realistic rebuild in the slightest, it is going to be a very fun one. We also raised another £5.5 million on getting rid of Eric Bocat, Niall Ennis, Andre Vidgal for 4.2 to Derby, and Bae Jean Ho. So we had around £25 million to spend. But I only spent £5 million, and that's because I signed a striker who is absolutely perfect for just 1.5 million. Paul Onuachu from Southampton. He is 6'7" with 20 jumping reach, 14 heading, 17 strength. I think he ticks the box of that target forward on support role pretty damn well. And I think he's going to be pretty broken in the match engine as well. I can't wait to see Big Paul make Big Ryan look tiny, because this guy is an absolute monster. Whipping balls into them is going to be 23-year-old 6'2" right winger Matthew Garbett, signed from NAC Breda. Quite difficult position to try and ball. I'm finding there's not too many wingers or wing backs that are above 6 foot, so our talent pool was a little bit limited, so we're going to have to do what we can do with Big Matthew and move Manouef over to that left-hand side again. But to be fair, I like this guy quite a lot. He's got some decent speed. He's got good dribbling. He's not consistent. He doesn't like big matches, but, you know, he's pretty decent. And speaking of pretty decent, we've got a Premier League man of the match winning centre-back in Johnny Evans, signed from Manchester United on a free agent contract. He's 6'2". He brings an experience, and that is exactly what he's here for. As a free contract on 7k a week for just 12 months, I can't see anything going wrong with this piece of business. And hopefully you can teach this absolute behemoth of a man, Finley Burns, some things, because he's 6'5", but potentially lacking that little bit of quality. And I think having someone like Johnny Evans in the mentoring group with him could massively help. We've got him on a loan deal from Manchester City, but we are looking to buy him at the end for just £190,000, which is a bargain. He's 6'5", he can head a ball, he's got great jumping reach, and I think he's going to be great. We have utilised that loan market quite well, as we've also signed Yusuf Shamiti from Everton on a loan deal. He's 6'4", so he fits the bill. He's quick and he can finish, and he's very consistent as well. So he could be a great player to pick up for the Premier League season when we do eventually get there. We've got an optional fee of just £2.5 million on him, and I know he can grow into an absolute superstar. At just 21 years of age, again, that seems like a fantastic, risk-free piece of business. We carried on with the free agent market, signing Dominic Iorfa as a backup right back for just nothing, and then fixed our goalkeeping issue, signing Alireza Berenvidad on a free contract after his contract at Tractor, yes, that's a real club over in Iran, ran out. He is absolutely fantastic, though. He is the Iran goalkeeper we see in real life. He's 6'5", 6'4", unreal aerial reach and jumping reach, supreme consistency, and he loves big matches as well. And he's going to be a great goalkeeper for us. Back into the signed players, we've got Carl Fredrik Gunnarsson, who is a backup right mid. Not quite as good as Garbett, who was signed, but is going to be decent and a great rotation option. This guy might lack the quality, but he's 6'5". It's big Jonathan Russell, signed from Barnsley. He's just done a full season with them for the Championship, getting relegated down to League One and not playing very well, but he's 6'5". And I think in this system, it'll work quite well as a rotation option. And when Ben Pearson, shakes his hand as he comes off, we're going to have an absolute giant in midfield next to Vutaberga. And finally, we've signed a big left back in Alexa Amaniovic. The Macedonian left back is signed from Astana. Yeah, he's left the Champions League side to come to Stoke. That's my absolute icon. He's not great going forward, but he's big, he's physical, and he's good in consistency as well. Which means our team now is finished and looks pretty different to how it used to look. We've got Berentvedad in goal, Gunnarsson, Wilmot, Gibson, and Amanovic at the back four, Garbett, Pearson, Berger, and Manuif as our midfield four, with Onuachu and Mame up front. I expect us to absolutely dominate teams in the Championship this season, purely based on physicality. Again, we are predicted to finish 12th. We are looking to upset them odds and absolutely smash it this season. And we'll just look through some of these stats. We have won the most headers at just under 2,000. The most yellow cards with 97. The most goals on 106. And my two favourites, the most crosses completed and the most goals from indirect free kicks by quite some distance. That is exactly what we're looking to build. And it certainly helps when that gets you into the playoffs. A ball in, and Yusuf Shamiti makes it 1-0 in just 4 minutes against Luton before Ryan sticks it home from the spot to give us a 2-0 and commanding lead in the semi-finals. Where Luton may have grabbed a goal from Tahith Chung to make it 2-1, but Amanovic whipped it into the back stick for Gibson to bring it down, find Manuif for 3-2. Luton scored in the 91st minute, but don't worry, it meant nothing, and we're going to a playoff final. And in that playoff final, it was Yusuf Shamiti, the loan signing, which made us 1-0 winners and going up to the Premier League. What a season. We done all of our goals playing dirty, hard 4-4-2 football, and we got promoted. And the loan signing of Chamiti was absolutely fantastic. This season, he bagged a grand total of 26 goals in 44 starts. He was outrageously good, and remember, we can sign him for just £2.5 million, so that is certainly what we are going to be doing. But don't worry, because it wasn't just him on the score sheet. Ryan Mame was actually our top goal scorer in 33 games, but our best player in the whole season on average rating was 7.32, even though he only scored 17 goals, is Paul Onuachu. That target forward and support role, that must have suited him very well, because he absolutely smashed it. And that is exactly what I want to see. Assist-wise, our wingers are getting 14, 13, 11, and 9, which is brilliant. Even Ben Wilmot is getting 8 assists when he's playing at right back. Matthew Garbett, who I was worried about this season, was actually pretty decent. 6 goals and 7 assists. He has done a very good job for us. Vutaberga, 6 and 4. Sam Gallagher is still knocking about, 5 and 3. I mean, he is 6'4", so he's quite helpful off the bench, of course. But overall, I'm absolutely in love with what we've created here. This is like pure Barclaysman of football. And if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure to like the video. And if you have ever liked one of my videos, or if this is the second or third video you've watched of mine, make sure you're subscribing as well, because FM25 is going to be absolutely mental, and you do not want to miss out on the fantastic content coming up. For season 3, of course, the boards have backed us massively with £37 million to go and spend. So let's go bring in some absolute giants. Well, first order of business was bringing in Shamiti on his permanent deal, and the second was Finley Burns as well. He was just 190,000 and actually played 35 games for us last season, was pretty damn good. So he might not be fantastic, he's definitely not Premier League quality, but he certainly knows how to do a job in this system, and he's coming for an absolute bargain. We carry on the bargains with free agent deals. Iax Moriba comes in from RB Leipzig. You might not think it, but he is 6'1", and he of course has that technical ability we all know and love. We also signed Chris Metham to come in and be a better centre back than Finley Burns. He's slightly more experienced. He's 6'3". He's very consistent, and he'll be a great addition to the side. We have got 2 big signings coming up though. Number 1 is Tahith Chong to be our attacking left midfielder. Great pace, great crossing, great dribbling, great flair. consistent, and he's had a few chances in the Premier League now, and I think at Stoke he can become unreal. And finally, it's a superstar goalkeeper, James Trafford. He's 6'6", and he comes in from Burnley, and he's absolutely fantastic. Looking at the tactic, the team hasn't changed too much from last season, just a few additions, and I think these additions are going to be brilliant. I honestly think playing this sort of way in the Premier League could be very effective. You see teams like Man City that really struggle against teams that make it difficult for them, that physically outdo them, and we're going to have to just try and be a physical side for a good 2 or 3 seasons until we can buy players which are going to be better quality and also big and strong. So for now, it is about survival in the Premier League for the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, there is simply no better way this could have gone. This is our first game in the Premier League at home at the Bet365 Stadium. I'm going to call it the Britannia because we are bringing Stoke back, and we're up against Southampton. And Paul Onuachu grabbed a goal in 10 minutes and then in 27 minutes, and we're just going to go in absolute madness. I don't know what's happened here, but maybe this style of football actually is unbelievable in the Premier League, because Paul Onuachu, this 6'7" striker, has grabbed a hat-trick in 67 minutes. Milan Manuef then found right in the box to make it 4 in 70 minutes, and we made it 5 from a corner. I don't know what's happened, but Stoke are so back, and I'm absolutely here for it. And our next game at home was against Manchester City, and we done exactly what I wanted to do. Make it difficult for them to play. Be hard, be aggressive. We had 30 fouls, we had 30% possession, and we drew the game 2-2. I love it. This is the Stoke way. And with results like that made us safe in the Premier League just by 2 points, beating Brentford, who have won the Europa League and are going to be in the Champions League and the Championship. FM is wild and wacky, and I absolutely love it. We are sitting in 17th place. Survival has been secured, and it has all been down to Paul Onuachu. He grabbed 20 goals this season. He was our sole outlet. He got a 7.16 average rating. Just having a 6'7" striker is unheard of, and it's an absolute dream. One thing that happened, we lost our centre-back this season, which is a little bit of a shame, but overall the team was absolutely, I mean, let's be honest, pretty rubbish, but it done its job to absolute supreme, and I love it. In terms of the height of the team, everyone now is above 6 foot, other than Milan Manuef, who is 5'10". By the time we win the Premier League, I do want to have every single player above 6 foot. I just love the absolute giants we've got. Our fullbacks are 6'2". Our midfielders are 6'3" and 6'1". A 6'7" striker. It's absolutely stunning. And for season 4, signing the big boys carried on as Harry Pickering came in as our brand new left back. Mark Pubil came in as our brand new right back. He is 6'3". I love it. We also brought in Luke McAnally, a 6'4" Irish centre back. And the last big signing is John Duran. Yes, we've brought in the Premier League super sub, and it's safe to say he isn't quite as good yet, but hopefully he gets there because he is unbelievable. It was actually a free contract as well after he left Aston Villa. He just didn't play a single game in 26-27, and we picked it up on a 3. He scored 5 goals, got 2 assists, but Big John is here at Stoke, and it helped us in season 4 to get 11th place in the Premier League, so making some massive strides. 15 points better off and on the edge of getting into European football. So season 5 was the season when we're looking to sign that upper echelon of talent and now take Stoke to battling for European football. And sign number 1, I think, is a pretty good one. It's Samuel Illing Jr., signed from Aston Villa. He is 6'2", so he's just on the cusp of being usable in this rebuild, but he's pretty decent. He's quick, he's good going forward, he's consistent, he likes big matches, he's just 24 years of age, and I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant. But don't worry, because these signings are going to get progressively better. Next up is Dean Hyson, signed from Norwich after being at Bournemouth for £15 million. He is 6'5". He is an absolute wonderkid in real life, and it's unreal that he's gone to Bournemouth from Juve. Fair play to him. He is brilliant. He's quick, he's good in the air, and he's consistent. And he's just 23. So this guy really is going to be good enough to win Premier League titles. And next up is my boy Rasmus Højlund. He absolutely smashed it in the Ipswich FC 25 rebuild. If you haven't seen that one, go and watch that after this, because it was unbelievable. And this guy was unreal. I'm looking to see if we can do the same on FM with him as well. He is 6'3". He is extremely quick. He has 17 jumping reach, good heading, consistent. It's just not worked for him so far in FM, and hopefully we can change that around. He's been on loan at Brentford. He's played just 30, 40 odd games for United. That's all changing today. He's going to be a Stoke legend. We then dip down to some free agent and some cheaper bits of business like number 1 Habib Onguene. Tommy Stepford joins our backup goalkeeper from Arsenal. Jackson Tachusha joins from Hellas Verona as a backup right mid or right back. And finally we signed Rafael Monday from Liverpool to be a backup left back, purely because he's 6'4". We've now managed to bring in some absolute quality into the side, as well as being big old men. We've got James Trafford, Mark Pubel, Chris Metham, Dean Hyson, Harry Pickering, Milian Manawef, Alex Moriba, Wouter Berger, Taif Chong, John Duran, and Rasmus Højlund. Let's be honest, John Duran, mate, it's going to be Paul Onuachu and Rasmus Højlund up front. In terms of height, 6'6", 6'3", 6'3", 6'5", 6'1". Milian Manawef still 5'10". Moriba 6'1". Butaberga 6'3". Chong 6'1". Onuachu 6'3". Rasmus Højlund 6'3". The whole bench, other than Ben Pearson, is above 6 foot as well. We have rebuilt Stoke into a physical masterpiece. And because of that, this season, I want one of the cups to come in, the Carabao or the FA Cup, and I want to get us into the top 7 or 8, whatever is needed for European football. We are predicted 19th. We know that's not going to be the case. We're predicted 12th and got promoted from the Championship. So we know we can get up there in and around this Bournemouth, Newcastle, Brentford, Manchester United range, and hopefully we can show the world what big, physical 4-4-2 football can do. And with the FA Cup, we faced Arsenal in the 3rd round, so we got knocked out of that quite quickly. And we also fell out of the 2nd round of the Carabao Cup, which is, yeah, pretty embarrassing. So no cup competitions this season. But the things that helped us in the Championship of winning the most headers, having the most yellow cards, completing the most crosses have all come to fruition here in the Premier League, because we managed to match exactly that in terms of the stats. We have got in to 7th place in the Premier League, the UEFA Conference League, the one we know we can go and win as well. We finished on 63 points, another 13 points different, and I don't know if this is true, but I think it might be the first time Stoke are in a European competition. I might be wrong there, but I'm not 100% sure. They were finishing around 9th in 2013. They've never won a European competition, so I'd like to add that as a goal as well, of winning a European competition. The last time they won a major trophy was the Carabao Cup back in 1972. So over 60 years for Stoke. Let's try and make it not get to 70, and let's win some big old trophies for season number 6. I mean, the team this season again was brilliant. Milian Manawef, it is so hard to drop him because he is our main assist outlet. 14 assists this season. Harry Pickering at left back with 9 as well. He might not have the quality, but in this system, he just suits it down to a T, and it's brilliant. Taif Chong, 7 assists, 5 assists for Rasmus Højlund, who was outscored by Paul Onuachu again. Again, in terms of ability, he's just a 2-star player, but he's dropping 7.2 average ratings and getting 18 goals. It has to be studied because he's that good. We are going to move away from him. His contract is running out, and I think I'm going to let him go because I want to bring in someone younger and better. And I've got my eye on someone that replaces him pretty damn well. It is the 6'6" Swedish Jonah Kusi Asare, signed from Bayern Munich. He is outrageously good. He is outrageously tall, and he is fantastic in big matches. And the partnership of Asare and Rasmus Højlund is going to carry Stoke to Champions League glory. Well, that's not really the goal. Premier League glory is the goal. So we've also signed some other players. And Bilbao comes in from Alaves. He's 6'2" with 16 acceleration at 21 years of age. Yes, please. We've also signed Gerardo Jimenez from PSG, a 6'6" Mexican centre-back with 5-star wonder kid potential. And then went back to the free agent signings to bring in some experience. So welcome Lorenzo Pellegrini from Roma. Leandro Morgana comes in from Salzburg. And finally, Lucas Bergvall comes in from Spurs. Again, someone you're surprised is 6'1". Very good on the ball, great technically, great physical stats, and is going to add that little bit of class into the midfield. And I think this team is now absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. 2 strikers which can score goals, 2 wingers which can whip a ball in, quality in the midfield, a big, meaty, but also young defence, and a fantastic goalkeeper. This Stoke side is ready to go to the very top. Well, that's what I thought. Because Rasmus Højlund left us on the 4th of August for £45 million, which is a release clause, and I didn't realise it till the end of the season. That didn't stop us from winning a European competition, however, but it does show the quality we have missed, as Emre Tezgel, the Stoke wonder kid striker, ends up scoring in the final to make us 1-0 winners against Iceborg. And while it's absolutely fantastic that that's just happened, it shows that there is a real issue up front, and over the course of the season, consistency was difficult to garner. As we finished down in 13th place and a massive drop-off in our goals output. We obviously had Paul Onuachu and Rasmus Højlund as a dual threat. We lost both of them in one summer, and it was a big adjustment year, and having someone like Emre Tezgel starting a European competitions final isn't exactly ideal. We certainly struggled this season, we'll be completely real. John Duran was very good, 17 goals, 2 assists, and Yona Kusi Asare also 17 goals and a 7.3 average rating, so suiting that target forward role very well. But having Emre Tezgel as the backup striker rather than John Duran hurt us quite a lot. He grabbed 9 goals and got 1 assist, but just a 6.79. We've had season with Ryan Mame, who was left a few years ago due to not being quality-wise, where he was scoring 20 goals as our backup. That's what John Duran should be, and we now need to go and replace that. I still think our squad is very strong. Samuel Illing Jr. for 5 million was an absolute bargain. He grabbed 12 assists this season. Dean Hyson is an absolutely fantastic centre-back, and he's 6'5" and grabbed 7 goals from corners. Milian Manuev, 14 assists. He's just an absolute joke, and 11 assists for Mark Pubel as well. But overall, I think the loss of Rasmus Højlund was a lot bigger than expected. We are in the Europa League next season, and we're looking to try and win that, and then maybe season 8 win the Premier League. So the striker we've brought in to replace Rasmus Højlund is another wonder kid. It's Sky Vink. This time signed from Napoli after absolutely smashing it at the Ajax Academy. He moved over there, hasn't had too much game time last season, and we've picked him up for just £10 million. A very similar strike partnership now to Ryan Mame and Paul Onuachu, as Suna, Konare and Vink up front are going to be unbelievable. This guy's really quick, great finishing, great dribbling, he's great consistency, loves big matches, 15 heading as well, which you might not expect, but that's pretty good up top. And we've found someone to whip the balls into him as well, and finally replaced Milian Manuev on that right wing is 6'3", wonder kid right winger Richard Trafford. 17 dribbling, 15 crossing, great speed, 17 technique, 16 flair, and he's 6'3". I mean, he's 90 kg as well, which is ridiculous. Now, obviously, weight isn't going to be an FM25, but seeing a 90 kg, 6'3" right wing with that speed, there was no part of me which didn't need him to come in instantly. £15 million he's cost us, already a value of 64, and as mentioned, he has got the Wonder Kid tag. So we've found an absolute demon, and he fits the Stoke way. We also signed Vadigar Flixson as our backup right back. Juan Gonzalez comes in as well into midfield to potentially replace Wouter Berger. Just a bit more quality, still 6'3", a big steely ball-winning midfielder who can also get forward. I think it's something we now need to progress into. And an unbelievable free agent signing of Jan Orel Bissek from Wolfsburg. Obviously at Inter Milan in real life, ended up moving to Frankfurt and has progressed into an outrageous centre-back. Consistent Life League matches, 6'5", absolutely fantastic. And now I absolutely love this team. James Trafford, Mark Pubel, Bissek, Hyson, Bilbao, Trafford, Mariba, Joan Gonzalez, Illing, Kusi Asare and Vink. Stoke are ready for takeover. And what I think is safe to say this season, our new signings absolutely smashed it. Richard Trafford bagged 21 assists from right midfield, and Jonah as our striker grabbed 28 goals. Absolutely ridiculous. And due to them two being on top four, it meant we were in battles with some of the biggest teams in the Premier League as we battered Arsenal 5-2. Liverpool also got done in 4-0 by a Jonah Kusi Asare hat-trick, and we even beat Manchester City at home 2-0. We are a dangerous side, especially in the league as well, as in terms of our home form, we won 16 games, got 1 draw and lost just 2 matches, which meant that Stoke City are Premier League champions on just 75 points. Now, I understand this isn't the best points tally we've ever seen, but I am taking this and I am running with it. We have won the Premier League with Stoke playing 4-4-2, starting 6-foot only players, and just absolutely bullying the Premier League. It is one of the most fun rebuilds we have ever done. We didn't win the Europa League, the FA Cup, or the Carabao Cup, sadly. So in terms of Stoke themselves, all we added to the history was a Premier League, their first ever, and a Europa Conference League trophy. If you guys want to pick this save up on Patreon, the link is down below. You can pick it up from any point. Let me know the seeds you want to get it from, and you can do that. And can you do me a massive favor, if you have enjoyed this video and you have absolutely loved every single moment of it, like it and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And if you can, leave a comment down below of Harry Potter and a wizard. So a wizard emoji for the Potters of Super Stoke City. Make sure you have a great day, and I'll speak to you next time. Derby County's 2007-2008 season remains infamous for setting the record for the worst Premier League campaign ever, finishing with just 11 points. Since that disastrous season, the Rams have faced financial turmoil, nearly getting liquidated and dropping all the way down to League One. But now a new chapter is on the horizon as they have just been promoted back to the Championship. Today, however, we embark on a bold mission to rebuild Derby County from the ground up using only free agents. No transfer budget, free agents only, and our ultimate goal is lifting both the Premier League and Champions League in 10 seasons. So grab yourself some popcorn as we rebuild Derby, one free agent at a time. And we are of course starting this in the Championship. After Derby got 92 points last season in League One, they are in the second biggest league in England and in my favourite league in England as well. So we'll be starting this rebuild in the Championship. And as you look at this team, there might not be a lot of them left at the end, but there is going to be one player in this starting 11 who is in the team at the end of the 10th season. Get your guesses in down below. Who is the player in this starting 11 that will be in the team at the very end of this rebuild? Whoever gets it right, we'll give it a like and a pinned comment, and hopefully you guys can get your guesses correct. Now, this is the team we've got so far. There's some decent players in here. The best players are some of the younger ones. We have got Liam Thompson in DM. I believe he's just a youngster. He's just 22 years of age, a decent little central defensive midfielder. We've got Erhan Cash in here as well, who's 22 years of age. Some fantastic stats as a ball-playing defender. And looking through the squad itself, it's not too bad. There is a bit of an age issue, and I don't think that's going to go away because we are literally only allowed to sign free agents. I have set my scouting up to just find me free agents only and people whose contract are ending in the next 6 months. So when it comes to the end of the season and I look for free agents that our contract's expired, we should hopefully have a very good sort of showing of who is actually willing to come to Derby and who is going to be the best players to get into this squad. It is going to be a very difficult rebuild. We're not going to spend a single penny. It is all going to be free agents, and I'm very, very excited. I've not done one this year yet on FM, and they're normally some of my favourite videos to make. So let's get into it. Let me show you the signings I made for the first season. And well, because the database I am using, that is up to date as of the middle of August. Derby have done a lot of their transfer business already, as you'd have seen from that updated team. So there was only 2 signings I decided to make rather than cramp the squad out too much. And number 1 is young Scottish midfielder Jensen Veer, signed from Brighton. He is just 22 years of age. He's got some good value on him, so potentially some resale value, but overall just a good young midfielder. And finally, we've got some extreme experience in goal in Yuri Pavlenka. He has been at Werder Bremen for 6 years. He's played over in Croatia and Czech Republic, and now he's here. Yuri Pavlenka, the new Derby goalkeeper, 21 caps for his nation of Czech Republic as well. And I'm very excited because we have got probably one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, and this is how the team is looking. We've got Pavlenka in goal, Ryan Ayambe at right back, Elder at left back, with Cashin and Nelson at centre back, with Thompson and Ben Osborne in the midfield, of Caden Jackson, Mendes Lang, Gomagine and Collins up front. A pretty decent side, a little bit on the aging side. As mentioned, that is not going to get easier because a lot of free agents are there because they're 30 plus and their contracts have expired, which means our wage budget is probably going to be a bit mental in this video, but hopefully we can build these finances so Derby are no longer in any risk of getting liquidated. On the version I've got, they've got no net debt whatsoever, a little bit of transfer debt, £18 million in the bank, so hopefully we can carry that on and just make Derby a massive club again, and hopefully not have a repeat of that worst ever Premier League season. Let's try and get promoted though in the Championship. We are predicted to come in 23rd place. We're going to do much better than that, of course. And the reason I say that is because we're seeing Derby at Wembley, not in the semi-finals of the playoffs, but in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I don't know how we've got here either, And don't worry, we're not going to win the FA Cup in the first season, but it's credit to the team we've got here at Derby and the fantastic tactics that we are using. Sarabia finds Doyle to make it 2-1 to Wolves, and they are going to make it 3-1 as well. But I wanted to showcase what an unbelievable run we've had in the FA Cup in just one season. Not only, of course, we want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. We've got 10 seasons. We will be able to do it. Let me know down in the comments down below. But that is our first game showing you guys we lose 3-1 in the FA Cup semis. Absolutely buzzing we've got there. And even though we missed out on playoffs by just 2 points, I am very excited the fact we've got all the way to 7th place in the Championship. We were predicted to come in 23rd, and in just one season we've upset the odds massively. 24 wins, 4 draws, 18 losses. We have a lose or win here. We don't really do many of them drawing malarkeys. 23 goal difference and 76 points, 2 points outside of the promotion places. I doubt we'd have got anywhere, as it was Sheffield United, Southampton, West Brom and Burnley in the top 4, with Leeds and Luton going back up to the Premier League. And talking to the Premier League, coming down to us, Leicester, Forest and Fulham. So we're going to have a very difficult time next season. But that is an incredible, incredible season. Semi-finals of the FA Cup and 7th place in the Championship. We scored the second most goals on 87. We just weren't very good defensively. As you can see from the team, we had very much being carried by Pavlenka on a 6.95. Defensively, a little bit rough with Nyambe, Nelson, Kashin and Elder. DMs weren't fantastic, but going forward, Kayden Jackson with 16 goals, 14 for Mendes-Lang and 12 for Collins was also very, very impressive. The one thing that maybe was an oversight on my behalf was getting an absolute superstar striker in. We literally had Tom Barkhausen, Kayden Jackson and James Collins, who got 31, 31 and 34 to lead the line for us. So we maybe missed out on that department, but it'd have been a bit ridiculous if we got this Derby side instantly promoted to the Premier League. It has allowed us, though, a lot of money. £10 million in wage budget. I don't need any of that. We're going to be having £200,000 to spend on wage budget, and I am not being realistic. We are not doing this as realism. We are doing this to get as fast as we can to Premier League winners with Derby, and we're going to be doing it for 10 seasons anyway. So bringing in the likes of Carl Jakob Hines, fantastic goalkeeper, Ismaila Koulibaly could be very good shouts. I mean, there is a lot of players on this list. I'm going to go through, do some scouting and bring some new players in to make this Derby side playoff contenders. And it's safe to say there was a lot more signings coming in and a lot more quality as well. Number 1, Sebastiano Esposito, the 23-year-old Italian 6'2" striker who loves big matches, has left Inter Milan to come to sunny Derby. 13 finishing, 15 composure, okay speed. He's our big boy in the box. And well, someone to get the ball into the box to him is going to be Yana Caramo, released from Torino in Italy. 16 acceleration, 15 pace. We're giving him 12k a week. It's absolutely fine. You're consistent, you like big matches, you're very, very fast, and you can whip a ball in with 13 crossing as well. That's exactly what I need to see. And well, potentially on the other side, and as a backup striker, we also have Duncan Watmore. He's just played for everyone at this point in the Championship. It's Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Millwall, now Derby, and Big Duncan can help us get to the Premier League. We then move on to our defence, and we've strengthened massively, signing Jonathan Panzo. This is a guy that had been released from Nottingham Forest. He was signed a few years ago from a place over in France. As a wonder kid centre-back, he's made a cap for Ivory Coast already. He's consistent, he likes big matches, and this is a guy that genuinely could become Premier League quality if he's nurtured the correct way. And well, someone with that already Premier League experience and quality is Alan Campbell. It might have been for Luton and they got instantly relegated down to the Championship, but this guy is a brave, tenacious, strong tackling central defensive midfielder, and that's something we missed last season in DM. Having Ben Osborne and Liam Thompson in there, it was a little bit too ball playery. We didn't have a proper strong DM, and in Championship you need that, and that is our Alan Campbell. And that is that really for all of our signings, and we're looking at a much different squad compared to last season. Pavlenka, Nyambe, Panzo, Kashin, Elder, Thompson and Osborne still in DM. That's just not correct. It's going to be Thompson and Campbell with Caramo, Gumajin, Kayden Jackson and Sebastiano Esposito leading the line. It's a very different Derby side already. We are now predicted to come in 16th, which gives us an absolutely fantastic chance of getting into the playoffs, as last season 23rd, finishing 7th. This season 16th, I'm looking for a playoff spot so we can start our Premier League attack. And well, there was a few teams that I was very worried about playing this season. Number 1, being Burnley. But, I mean, Burnley are absolutely no match for the mighty Derby. Esposito there getting his head on that one to make it 2-0. And while Zaki Amdouni can make it 2-1, Esposito can whip a ball in to cash in at the backstick for 3-1. And we're going to grab a fourth and show some domination in the early stages here. And it wasn't just Burnley we could beat. We also faced up against Leicester, just for being relegated from the Premier League, facing up against us. And they're also going to come under the Derby sword. 2-0 early on. They are going to make it 2-1 thanks to a ridiculous chip from Gabriel Moscardo. Just shows the quality of players we're playing against. But we're going to make it 3-1. Jan Karamo for Bendes Lang for 3-1. Leicester, 92nd minute penalty. Absolutely fine. We've beat Burnley. We've beat Leicester. And we've also beat what I believe could be one of the strongest championship sides of all time. Nottingham Forest. Esposito getting on the end of a ball over the top to make it 1-0 before grabbing a second thanks to Blackett Taylor. They are going to grab one back in the 79th minute thanks to Ibrahim Sangare, a £40 million signing, but it wasn't enough to beat the mighty Derby. And in fact, no one could get close to us all season as we got 103 points, 33 victories, 4 draws, 9 losses, a 52 goal difference, and battered the championship. We are champions. We are going up. And it was without having an absolute star man as well. As we look through this squad, the goals were shared out between Esposito, Caden Jackson, Gujmadin, Jan Karamo, the assist the same. Jonathan Panzo was great. Karamo, Esposito, Ryan Nyambe, Gumajin, Jensen Veer, one of our first signings, was brilliant. Liam Thompson has developed into a real fantastic ball-playing central defensive midfielder. And the Derby side is now in the Premier League. It has taken us just 2 seasons, free agents only. We now have got some dignity defined. We know Derby had the worst season of all time in 2008, just 11 points. If we can, get 12, I'll be happy. But if we can secure safety, we can then build on what could be a historic run for Derby. Look at our finances. We've got £42 million in the bank. The board have given us a stupid amount of money, but all we need is the free agents to be good. And that's the hardest thing about this rebuild. There's not a lot I can control. I need players to run their contracts down. I need them to accept coming to Derby as what will now be an absolute slog. A lower half Premier League side, a team battling relegation. I need some of the best players who get released to choose Derby, and that's going to be tough, but I believe we're up to the task. Let's get into our Premier League transfer window. And well, first up, I've got some owning up to do. I actually signed 2 players in this window. Don't worry, both were under £1 million. I'm not quite sure what happened, whether I just got very confused when doing it or what happened. I did sign 2 players. Number 1 was Ronan Ferns, who was a 5-star centre-back potential from Celtic, I believe. Apologies for this one. And second up is Marcel Ratnik from Olympia. I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I was in complete autopilot mode. I do run multiple simulations in multiple different saves at once to sort of make this YouTube grind work. And I think I got a bit confused between the 2 that I was doing. Apologies. I've signed 2 players. £1.3 million is against our name. A slap on the wrist. Get at me in the comments, whatever, I'm sorry. But overall, we had a very successful free agent window, signing number 1 striker Jean-Philippe Mateta, the oiliest and quickest man in the world, Adama Traore. I mean, eat your heart out. 18 acceleration, 19 pace. We know Football Manager is just all about pace, so Adama, welcome to Derby. And we'll keep on that trend, shall we? We'll grab someone that's not quite as big, oily and strong, and maybe a little Welsh man. Dan James. I love Dan James. I'm a United fan. He's gone to Leeds, but Dan James is just a passionate, hard-working little legend. And he's going to be brought in here to Derby to go on the wings of Adama Traore. I mean, that is a scary wing partnership. And if they can't create anything, I'm sure James McAtee will be able to. The young man had a fantastic season at Sheffield United when they were in the Premier League. He's gone back to Manchester City on this save and he's not got any game time whatsoever. They've released him in 2026. He now joins us. He is a fantastic, creative central attack midfielder. He's consistent. He likes big matches and he could very easily get England caps, let alone be a good player for us in this rebuild. So hopefully we see James McAtee become an absolute superstar. And to finish things off, we've got 2 very experienced fullbacks. Number 1 coming in is Matthew Targett. He's played like 100 games in the Premier League for Forest, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Southampton and Fulham in this save alone. And he comes in here as a free agent worth £30 million. And finally is Turkish right back Zeki Çelik. This guy has been linked to some of the biggest clubs in the world in real life in years gone by. He ended up joining AS Roma after having fantastic seasons at Lille, and he now comes to Derby. Some would say a fall off. I would say he's a lucky man. He's landed on his feet. He's incredibly consistent. He loves big matches. He's a great attacking fullback as well. I'm excited to see what he can do here. And that pretty much completes our window. Pavlenka in goal, Nyambe at right back, Target, Kashin, Ratnik, Thompson, McAtee, Jensen Weir, Adama Traore, Dan James and Sebastiano Esposito. The team is looking quite nice, it's got to be said. I'm a big fan, and there will be some people on the bench and stuff you don't really recognise. I'm not going to go through every single signing I make. As I said, the 1.3 million there is my error. I accidentally signed them too. But as you can see, everything else is free. A lot of people are brought in just as rotation options, and they won't really make too much sense in the story of the rebuild. So ignore them. They're just here to make up the numbers, to be honest. Just like Tanganottu, he's a decent backup goalkeeper from Morocco. I just needed someone to back up Pavlenka just because we had no one else, and that's sort of how things go sometimes. But that is going to be the Derby team for the Premier League. I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest. I'm a bit scared that we haven't quite got the quality, and we are predicted to come plumb last on 700 points. I wonder if anyone would place an ACCA or a bet on Derby getting less than 11 points this season. I don't think so. Now, did we get absolutely battered a few times? Yes, of course we did. I mean, City had Kylian Mbappe, for Christ's sake, with Erling Haaland. But we have had a pretty fantastic season. 35 points. It's level to the relegation zone. I couldn't care less. We have stayed up by 3 goal difference. We didn't even make the magic 40, but it's just over 3 times better than Derby did in 2008. So, it's a massive W. We are staying up in the Premier League at our first time of asking. When it comes down to the data hub, we got absolutely battered. We hardly scored any goals. We conceded way too many, but I'm not that fussed at all. We have survived with Derby, with this team, and it's got to be said, there was a few players that surprised me. I did not expect Esposito to be able to take the carry up to the Premier League. 13 goals is fantastic. He pretty much put the team on his back. And Adama Traore as well. I mean, he's a guy that's played countless times in the Premier League. 6 assists, 5 goals, double figures. It might be the first time ever. In fact, I'm actually intrigued as to that. Has he ever? Yeah, well, not in real life, he hasn't. He's not a goal scorer. 3 is his joint best with Wolves in 2020. And I mean, we've done that here with Derby in his first season. Adama Traore, the absolute GOAT. Dan James, 6 assists and 4 goals. James McAtee doing exactly what I wanted him to do. Get on the ball, dictate the game. And as a 24-year-old, he now goes in as one of our best players. Is incredibly consistent as well. And I will not be surprised if James McAtee is lifting a Premier League trophy at the end of this rebuild. If we make it, remember our 3 goals are to win the FA Cup, win the Premier League, and win the Champions League. And we'd also, of course, like to lift the Carabao and the Europa League and the Europa Conference League as well. So they're little mini goals. But the main goals are winning the 3 big trophies, maybe even a treble. That we're not going to put that as a goal, but that would be absolutely mental. We're now getting to a point, though, 2027, where a lot of people are having their contracts expire. I mean, for example, we've got the likes of Antonio Rudiger and Kyle Walker retiring from the game. We could get players like Memphis Depay, Mateo Kovacic, Nicolas Pepe, but you'll see exactly how I'm doing this scouting. I'm coming to the general info. I'm going to world reputation, and I'm just trying to find players which have big reputation that fit in here at Derby and can make a big difference. Someone like Harry Maguire, maybe not. He is now 34 and has 10 pace. Maybe not the exact signing we're looking for, but if you guys are wondering how I'm doing this, I'm doing it by sorting my reputation. Obviously, they need to be at least a little bit interested as well. So we can get the likes of Sebastian Szymanski or Hany Mukhtar, Bern Leno, Lucas Vazquez, and then also because we've got the scouting set up to go out there and find players whose contracts are running out in the next 6 months or that are already free agents. We have very good knowledge of a lot of players like Youssef Shamiti, Calvin Ramsey, Judson Sabel, Luca Romero. There's a few studs here that are a little bit younger as well that we are certainly going to be looking into. As well, when you look through the squad, Age is an issue. I'll be honest. Our youngest player is 22. We have a lot of 30 pluses. I think that's going to be a story throughout most of this rebuild, to be honest. It's very difficult to get good players that are free agents that are young. We've got one with James McAtee. We just now need to try and find the rest. Let's get info to the next season in our Premier League. And for the next 3 seasons, we're all very similar. As season 4, we saved relegation by 4 points. Season 5 saw some slight improvements up to 14, finally breaking the 40-point barrier before having another little tumble in season 6 on 38 points, which is why we pick it up again in this video. And just to prove to you guys, we are still just using free agents only. The last 3 seasons, there have been some decent players come in. I'll show you the team what we're looking at now. We have got our very own wonder kid through the academy striker come through in Benjamin Anamu. He did play just 6 games this season, but he's got 16 finishing, 12 composure, and some decent speed. We've got the legend that is Amad Diallo on the right wing. He went back to Italy. Well, actually, no, he stayed at United, but went back to Italy on 2 different loan spells, ended up getting released. And for us, he's been fantastic. 10 goals in both seasons he's been here with 11 assists. Absolutely fantastic. On the left-hand side, we have Alan Velasco, another fantastic wonder kid who signed for Arsenal from FC Dallas, went to Fulham, played 3 seasons there in the Championship, doing quite well, and they released him. He played 19 games for us this season, got 4 goals, pretty decent. We also do have a Bellingham. It's not quite Jude, it's Job Bellingham. He is 24 years of age. He went off to Chelsea, signed him for $7.5 million. Went on loan a bunch of times, didn't really grow too much. He's now come to here, 25 games in the Premier League this season, and was a 6.97, fantastic. We have got his good mate, James McAtee, sitting next to him as well, and he is absolutely fantastic. Look how well he has grown. We've got Oscar Zambrano in central defensive midfield, just 26 years of age. He has played 2 seasons now here after joining Newcastle for 1.8 million in 2025. He's been here for 2 seasons and he's been pretty damn good as well. Our back line has got Nathan Patterson at right back. He's been released from Everton and absolutely fantastic. A stud signing, 6.82 average rating. Buzzing with that one. Anthony Robinson comes in from Fulham. He is now 32 years of age, but a fantastic left back as well. We still have Cashin here at centre back, who is absolutely fantastic, by the way. He is unbelievable. And Kumbula next to him with Stejkau in goal. He is a Czech Republic goalkeeper. We've gone back-to-back on the Czechs. This guy released from WSG Tyrol in Poland, and he is absolutely fantastic at 28 years of age. We have backups. Semper, Zeki Celik is still here. Ratnik, Alfie Dorrington, Matt Target, Liam Thompson, Jensen Weir. We had Andreas Pereira at one point. Pretty decent free agent signing, has got to be said. He is 34 years of age. He has only joined this season, and it's safe to say he's at the end of his career, but as a free kick taker, a nice one to bring in. Adama Traore is still here. He has lost a little bit of pace, but he's good off the bench, and he is sadly now retiring. Gabriel Veron is another one that's come in, and Joel Pirro came in. Now, I have just skipped 3 seasons straight away. The team has changed a hell of a lot. But if I'm honest, all 3 seasons were very, very similar. We didn't do anything whatsoever in the FA Cup. We didn't do anything whatsoever in the Carabao Cup. In the Premier League, as we've seen in the past seasons bit, we come 16th in this season. Last season, as shown, we come 14th. And the season before that, we come 17th, as well as coming 17th before that. So rather than do a half-hour segment on how we stayed as a relegation team, we've skipped 3 years into the future. You've seen the team. It is only 3 agents only. And I'm quite happy with how things are going. Now, we're not really selling players for big money, but due to the Premier League money, our finances have grown significantly. We now have £210 million in overall balance. They give us a transfer budget of 120 million and a wage budget of 434k. Now, of course, we are only signing free agent players. Don't worry about that. But if you guys do want to pick this save up at any point on the Patreon, there's going to be a link to the Patreon down below where I can send you the save file for the end of this season. So you've got all of this ridiculous money, or at the very end, season number 10, where you can imagine the money we're going to have by that point. We have built a super team using free agents only. You can pick it up from that point as well and use the tactics we've been using, all for just £5 a month. The Patreon is down below and it helps support me massively. There's been legends running down the screen right now. We also have over 550 members on the Patreon, and I'm running 3 giveaways for a copy of FM25 for next month. So if you sign up today, you'll be in the giveaway for FM25 3 copies are being given away in just 2 weeks' time, I believe it is now. So get yourself signed up. It's $5. It gives you a good chance to get an FM. 500 plus members. Join them down below on the Patreon. Let's get in now, though, to season number 7, where hopefully we can get involved. And I think it's safe to say we've got to the points where free agents are getting a little bit mental. We've just got a 35-year-old James Ward-Prowse in, who is just ridiculous from set pieces. Don't ask him to move too much. He's not great at that, but you just give him the ball. You let him dictate play. We've got an absolute superstar on our hands, and it's pretty cool to see a 35-year-old James Ward-Prowse. Very interesting. But we made some absolutely insane moves in this window. Number 1 being Matías Arezzo. He was signed for Brentford, where he scored 41 goals in 141 games and then didn't get another contract. No idea why. He's incredibly consistent. He's not great in big matches. He's a little bit injury prone. But as a rotational striker, this guy is a superstar. And we've also signed one of my favourite young wonder kids in real life, Julian de Ranville. This guy signed for Borussia Dortmund from Anderlecht in Belgium. And he's just 24 years of age at this point. And he's a free agent signing after going to Manchester City, where, of course, as a youngster, he got absolutely no game time. Just 5 games in 2 seasons. After absolutely cooking the championship with Blackburn, he now joins us. He's sort of our Adama and Dan James replacement, an incredibly quick winger who's great at dribbling and crossing. He's consistent, he likes big matches, and he's only 24, which means he's only going to get better. A massive signing there. And that wasn't even the biggest of the window, because after joining Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia, and his contract not being extended, we have poached Georgi Mamadashvili. He's just signed for Liverpool in real life and going back to Valencia. Well, this year, he's joining Derby. The year is 2030. We are giving him stupid money, but as mentioned, we've got so much of it. We're not spending any money on transfer budget. It's sort of what we've got to do. But he comes in here as a leading Premier League goalkeeper. And as you guys know, in Simulation and Football Manager, having a good goalkeeper is absolutely pivotal. And Georgie comes in after having ridiculous seasons over in Saudi Arabia to the Premier League, where hopefully he's going to carry us to some glory. We also brought in American centre-back Cameron Carter-Vickers from Girona, and Norwegian left-back Matthias Furko-Lovic from Juventus, and they signed him from Molde over in Norway. He's a very decent fullback with great determination, good speed, good crossing, consistent as well, and just 26 years of age. Just means our team is now looking pretty strong. We've got Mamadashvili, Patterson, Carter-Vickers, Cashin, Corbeya, who is a wing-back through the academy who looks pretty decent, it's got to be said. With Ward-Prowse and Thompson in DM, Liam Thompson coming back into the team with James McAtee just in front. We've got Amad Diallo over on the right wing, Julian de Ranville on the left wing, and Arezzo up front. When you look through the backups, though, we've actually improved the squad a lot. Oscar Zambrano and Joe Bellingham are here in the midfield, which means we've got a very young midfield with the sort of brains and quality of James Ward-Prowse as well. Ricardo Pepe's at the club. He's been here for a couple of years as a backup striker, a pretty cool option. Alan Velasco is here. I mean, Adama is about to retire, I'm pretty sure, in just a week's time. So we'll enjoy Adama while we can. Thank you for being one of the GOATs of the football world, the oiliest, quickest, strongest winger ever. But as Sergio Martinez said, get back to Jim Adama, because you ain't beating Leacher. Let's get in to season number 7, where hopefully we can now make some progress in the Prem. Well, not only is this our first season not battling a relegational year, it is also our first season getting in the top half of the Premier League. We have come in 9th place on 56 points and 8 goal difference, 14 losses. Granted, but 16 wins, more wins than losses, and we're only 2 places away from getting in to the European qualification spots. Everton have finished 15th and got in the UCL, so I'm guessing they've won the Europa League or something, but it looks like we are finally actually building a team which can compete in some of the biggest places in the Premier League. You now look for our starting 11. We're looking at 30 years old, 29, 33, 29, 22, 29, 28, 36 granted, but 28, 25 and 28, we're no longer a retirement home of free agents. We're actually quite an attractive side to come to. We're bringing in a lot of players which actually can progress. I mean, the likes of Joe Bellingham being on the bench I've made him a Champions League winner before in a rebuild with Birmingham, with Jude, and I'm sure we can hopefully do the same for him here today. Alan Velasco can't get in the team, but a very good rotation option, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm very happy with what we have actually ended up building this season. Top 10 in the Premier League, a very good squad. It's time to get up, though, into the European places. And what better way to get us into being a European starter than Julian Alvarez? What a signing. He's just signed for Atletico Madrid in real life for 90 million. You should just wait 5 or 6 years, Atletico. He's going to go to Aston Villa at some point, play really good there for like loads and loads of seasons, ask for ridiculous money. They won't give it to him, and he'll come and join Derby on 110k at 31 years of age. 15 acceleration, 12 pace, 15 finishing, 16 composure. This guy can easily lift a Champions League trophy on FM, and he's joined us for a 3 contract. Absolute scenes. We've also signed Mauricinho van Axel Dongen, who is an incredibly exciting young winger from Ajax. He joined Vitesse a few years ago, played 127 games in just 4 seasons, is a great young quick winger, and now joins us here. And the final person to mention is Harry Dean, an incredibly quick winger, signed on a free contract from Newcastle. Now, for some reason, it's given us as a £2.9 million signing. It must have been like a, what's it called? A compensation for getting it over the line. His contract was running out. I signed him. It said we spent 2.9 million. That's rubbish. As a compensation one, it makes this look very annoying with £2.9 million spent. It's the first time it's happened. We move. We obviously signed these two back then for 1.3, but pretty much all free agents. That's still a free agent signing. If we were not in England, it wouldn't have been compensation. So it is what it is. We also signed Juan Lu, who's a young 27-year-old now, attacking fullback. And we've signed Lee Goodall from Manchester City as well. He's a fantastic midfielder / central defensive midfielder. He's probably going to end up replacing James Ward-Prowse in the next 12 months. He is still currently in the team with James McAtee and Liam Thompson. Still got Paul Cabella at left back, even though it's probably going to be Lovic playing more often than not. Cashin, Carter Vickers, Patterson, Mamardashvili, Ahmad, Julian Duranville, and Julian Alvarez as well. Who is going to be the starter in season 10? We've got Liam Thompson, we've got Erhan Cashin. Get your comments in. Did you leave one at the start? If you didn't, I've narrowed it down for you. There's 2 players. One of these 2 is going to be a Premier League player in season 10 here for Derby. Just let me know which one it's going to be. It's going to be in the starting team as well. Absolutely mental. Both of them have progressed so well. I'm very happy we've actually managed to do this. Actually keep a couple of Derby players in it the whole time. It's been very cool to see. Let's get into season 8 though. I think this year we can make some real progress. We are now predicted not to get relegated for the first time, which means surely European football. And we're finally in season 8 using only free agents. Derby are going to be a European side in the Europa Conference League. A massive win. 61 points. Just 2 points away would have been Champions League football. But it does mean that we get to tick off hopefully the Conference League next season, and then hopefully we can somehow get in the Europa League as well before season 10. We need to try and win the Champions League. We've also got the Premier League we want to compete for as well. We've got a lot of growing to do in just 2 seasons' time. Are we going to be able to do it? I've got no idea, but this is a massive step up for us. We are now in European football. Julian Alvarez grabbed 13 goals in 7 assists. To be fair, he was our main outlet, and we were just very good defensively overall, hence how we managed to get into European places. But 0.24 goals on average conceded, less than the rest of the Premier League. Average on goals on just 1.37. But overall, it was our steely defending that got us into European places for season 8, which also makes our reputation so much better. So hopefully the next 2 years, the free agents we can sign are going to be mental. Oh, there was a couple of decent signings this summer. Not quite the reputation boost I had hoped for though. Number 1 is Harry Leonard. I know what you're thinking. What's happened here? Harry Leonard is a £66 million striker signed for free after having 4 amazing seasons over in Italy for AC Milan. I didn't expect this to happen either, but we had just Julian Alvarez scoring the goals for us last season. This season, I think Harry Leonard's going to step up as well. What an unbelievable career he's had. Can he cap it off with helping Derby lift some trophies. And our only other massive signing coming in to actually help out the first team is Archie Brown. He's an English left back playing over in AA Ghent. He's actually changed nationality now to Belgium after playing there for so long. But this guy is fantastic. He's a very good Moneyball signing. If you do any Moneyball, if you've seen the Moneyball videos before, Archie Brown is fantastic. He's a left-footed centre-back / left back. Great speed, great crossing, great dribbling, great defensively as well, and is incredibly consistent. And them two come into the team and help us out a hell of a lot. Now, I do think Julian de Ranville will be maybe a backup this season, and Leonard will play on the left, Ahmad on the right, and Julian Alvarez up front. McAtee, Joe Bellingham, and Zambrano is our midfield now. We had this midfield a few years ago, slightly underdeveloped. This season, I think they are developed perfectly. Patterson and Brown as our two fullbacks, of Cashin and Lafarge, who is a free agent signing I'll show you in a sec as well as Mamardashvili, who is still in goal and still absolutely fantastic. Lafarge is also a free agent signing. Unbelievable. He come through the Nantes Academy, went to PSG, then went to Liverpool, played unreal in the league last season, playing 32 games, got released, and now he's here. He's a pretty decent centre-back. Centre-back is actually one of the hardest positions I'm finding to find good free agents. He is one of the best out there, makes it incredibly tough, but he's there with Cashin, and hopefully season number 9 we can finally lift some trophies. We're going to take things all the way back to season number 1 and give you an FA Cup semi-final. It is absolutely mental. We got all the way there in season 1. This is the first time we've been there since 2025. It is now 2032, and Derby are going to an FA Cup final after a 1-0 victory against Fulham. And we're in the final against Newcastle, and some fantastic pressing from Luke Goddard made us 1-0 leaders in just 32 minutes. But in the 89th minute, their goalkeeper went up and Schlotterbeck scored a header to make it 1-1 in this game. Newcastle missed their first penalty and ended up missing a few more as well, and we won 4-3 on penalties and make Derby FA Cup champions. It is one ticked off the list. Champions League and Premier League are to go. If we're going to be in the Champions League, we've got to get in the top 5. But before we look at the Premier League table, let's just watch Derby lift another trophy, as of course we have won the Europa Conference League. It's something we should definitely be winning, and Amad Diallo scored in just 45 minutes before Julian de Ranville get on the second in the 96th to make Derby European champions. Now, it's not quite what we're looking for. We're looking for the Champions League. But that is going to be impossible in today's rebuild, as we have come 10th. But thanks to winning the Conference League, we are in the Europa League for season number 10. So in season 10, we aren't going to be able to win the Champions League, but we're going to be looking to try and win the Premier League and the Europa League and leave just one trophy remaining. Now, it's not exactly how I wanted this rebuild to go, but not every single rebuild goes perfectly, and this challenge itself is incredibly tough. We only had what the game gave us in free agents to go out there and get, and we had to build a team, and that's strong enough to get even into this position. I think we've done incredibly well. Ahmad de Ranville, Alvarez, Bellingham, McAtee, Zambrano, Brown, Cashin, Lafarge, Patterson, and Mamardashvili is what we go into in season 10. Let's see if we can add some big names to this already star-studded side. I think it's safe to say, first of all, though, there's absolutely no issues financially, and Derby aren't going to be liquidated anytime soon. And that's even after a mental free agent window. We signed Oscar Højlund, first of all, from Heidenheim in Germany. Emmanuel Awu comes in next from RB Salzburg. He's now 32, which is mental. It just shows how difficult it is at this point to sign good free agents, because this guy is a bit of a wonderkid in FM at the start. He's now 32, and it was still going to come in and be a fantastic centre-back, but the age is a big issue. And I mean, we've given him a pretty good partner as well in Jean-Claire Todibo. He's been to Barcelona, Benfica, Nice, Al Nassr, and he finishes his career at Derby at 33 years of age. An incredibly consistent, loving big matches centre-back with fantastic speed. He never went to West Ham, but he is coming to England, and it's Derby in 2033. We've also brought in a 32-year-old Tariq Lamptey to back up our right back, a 28-year-old Arthur Miran to add some maybe a bit more defensive quality into our defensive midfield positions, and finally George Idikenia as our striker. This guy is a wonder kid at the start of the game, hence why he's only 26 years of age now. He's not progressed too much, but I wanted to get him and showcase him because he is fantastic. His stats are brilliant. He's just 16 at the start. If you can get your hands on him, he will score you a whole bunch of goals. It's not quite gone to plan for him in this simulation, but if you guys are looking for a striker to absolutely bag some goals, this guy is exactly who you are looking for. As we look into our team for the final season, we are looking at Mamardashvili in goal, Patterson, Tadibo, Awu, Brown, Oscar Hoyland, McAtee and Goodall, Diallo, Duranville and Harry Leonard up front. And well, first of all, if you said Erhan Kashin was going to be the starting player in the year 2034, you were correct. He played 32 games at 32 years of age after playing 410 games for Derby from the academy. Absolute legend. Kashin, a Derby hero. But the question we had for Kashin was, could he also help Derby become Premier League winners? And well, Tottenham were the team we were battling at the top of the table for all season long. And in this game at Spurs, we absolutely turned up. Amad Diallo with a great mazy run there to make it 2-1 the 51st minute. And even in 2034, Spurs were bottle jobs. Goodall found Amad to find George Ilkay to make it 3-1. And we won this game. And it also meant we won the Premier League title. After that, Spurs dropped off a little bit. Newcastle came in second place. And the Premier League is looking very different to what we know and love. City down in 9th, Liverpool 8th, United 7th, Chelsea 6th, Spurs in 3rd, and Derby at the top of the Premier League. And it was all thanks to this man, Harry Leonard. I did not expect this at the start of this rebuild for a Blackburn striker to rock up and be our hero, but this season he's scored 35 goals in all competitions and was absolutely broken. We were unbelievable this season. We scored 77 goals, conceded just 40, but what mattered was the points per game, 2.34. We win the Premier League. And that's, of course, another massive tick in our goals for this rebuild of winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, and winning the Champions League. Sadly, the Champions League winner has run away from us, but that is going to be available for you guys to try and do on Patreon. Make sure to send me a picture. Are you going to do it using free agents only, or are you going to use the now £200 million transfer kitty to rebuild this team into superheroes? We have obviously ticked off one little tick for winning the Conference League. We're in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup and the Champions League in this season as well. What other trophies can we lift? Well, I bring you here for a game against Brentford. Brentford's in the final of the Carabao Cup. I didn't think this either. I just showed you guys George Ilkay. What a player he was. When Harry Leonard needed a night off, George was a superstar. Now, this game did make it 1-1 after Lewis Potter scoring at the back stick, but in the 62nd minute, Van Axel Dongen beat his man, cut it back to Archie Brown to find Oscar Zambrano, who scored an absolute screamer to make it 2-1, and just 5 minutes later, Lamptey found James McAtee, who was an unbelievable free agent signing years ago, to find Oscar Zambrano to make it 3-1. And we have a little tick next to the Carabao Cup, a little tick next to the Conference League. And to finish things up, a big, massive tick against the Europa League, meaning only one trophy eluded us, the hardest trophy to win in all of Football Manager, but by using free agents only, we won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Conference League, the Europa League, the Premier League, using only free agents with Derby in just 10 seasons. A 2-0 victory over Manchester United. The team we ended up with was Mamardashvili, Nathan Patterson, Tadibo, Awu, Brown, Hoyland, McAtee, Goodall, Duranville, Diallo and Harry Leonard. Other than a couple of pre-agreements, fees of 53k there and 2.9 million pounds there, and of course the two mistakes at the start of the rebuild. Every single transfer was free and we spent under 4 million pounds, including all of the contract negotiations. I think we've had a smashing rebuild. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel, and you'll see me rebuild the next team. Who do you want next up? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you next time. Birmingham City broke the League One transfer record, signing wonder kid Jake Stansfield for over £10 million, which is absolutely mental in the third tier of England. So today, I'm carrying it on and going absolutely mental. We are signing wonder kids only. We are spending a ridiculous amount of money until Birmingham win the Champions League. The team they've got in League One is quite simply unfair. Ethan Laird is a fantastic young right back with a few injury issues, but as a right back, unbelievable. Jake Stansfield is crazy good for this level. They've got some great wonder kids of their own as well, like George Hall in Cam, who looks very well rounded and looks like he could grow into a superstar. They've also got one of the most experienced lower league strikers in the world, Alfie May. Now, I don't know if he's going to be very good in FM. He doesn't look like he's going to be crazy, but hopefully this guy can lead us to glory. And overall, just a crazy strong team. And I've got something to say that two of these players are going to be in the squad at the very end of the rebuild. Get it down below in the comments. Which two are they going to be? If you get one right, I'll give your comment a little pin, or a like and a love heart, and a love heart as well. Lots of love hearts going on. Make sure you are commenting down below who you think is going to be in this squad out of the starting 11. One is going to be in this first team, I believe, and one is going to be on the bench. Crazy scenes. The fact we've gone from all the way to League One to Champions League winners with some of these players. Now, of course, this first season, I'll be absolutely livid if we don't win League One. We should be. They're sitting 4th, I think, in real life. 3 wins and a draw from the first 4 games. I'd like to think we can pretty much go unbeaten on Football Manager. Well, would you believe it? We've won a trophy that's not League One. It's not the FA Cup or Carabao Cup either. It is the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, or the Papa John's Trophy, as we all know and love it to be. We won this game 3-0 against Stockport, who are currently sitting 2nd in League One in real life. A pretty easy victory. And of course, Super J Stansfield getting on the score sheet to lift our first trophy. And the second came quite quickly as well. We did win League One on over 100 points, 101 to be exact. 46 games played, 30 wins, 11 draws and 5 losses. A positive 60 goal difference. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm surprised. This team is an absolute joke. To be fair to Reading and Bolton, they've done quite well. Both on 96 points. The 3 best team in the league got promoted. Jay Stansfield bagged 22 goals in just the league alone. Lee Buchanan and Ethan Laird, we are utilising our wing backs very much. They both got 7.23 average ratings. Ethan Laird is an absolute baller. This guy really could be at the very top of football. As a United fan, I watched him come through the academy. Only issue he's got is his injury issues. He is quick, he is good defensively, he can cross the ball, and it shows here on FM. 13 assists. He is a leading championship player, and we've just won League One. So Ethan Laird, absolute crazy scenes. And Lee Buchanan, who's a tiny bit older, only 24 years of age actually, is also consistent. A good championship left back, got 14 assists and also the same average rating. So our 2 wing backs, both absolutely fantastic. Iwata and Clara as centre back, both absolutely solid, with Christian Bielik in CDM. I mean, this guy, I remember when Arsenal brought him and it was a mental thing. Ends up in the Championship, now at Birmingham, a very good centre-defence midfielder, a great season for him as well. When it comes to Jay Stansfield, he's just absolutely ridiculous. 28 goals and 6 assists. But there is a slight issue which sadly happened. Jay Stansfield plays up front, which means Alfie May didn't get a single game. He played 11 off the bench. I wish that wasn't the case, but Alfie May is not going to be carrying on this journey with us. We've got very good wingers of our own already, to be honest. Scott Wright is a Scottish right winger, absolute superstar, 8 goals and 10 assists and a 6.96. And Keshi Anderson, who seems like he's been around for absolute ever, is 30 years of age now, to be fair to him. 6 goals, 6 assists, also a very good season. And our young man in the cam role, George Hall, 18 goals, 9 assists, progressing very, very nicely. Just 20 years of age, already a £16 million guide value is absolutely crazy. And there is also a wonder kid as well, which was not in the first team, but did get a few minutes this season and absolutely dominated in the Under-21's football, is Romel Donovan. 36 goals and 16 assists in 52 games. That's a goal contribution every single game on a 7.87. Obviously, just for Under-21s. He is a leading League One cam. He's going to be in the first team, and hopefully we can develop him. I think we could. His technicals are very bad, though. So we'll see if we can grow them. But if you guys are doing a Birmingham save, this guy is fantastic. He is wanted by 14 clubs. We might cash in on him. I don't think we will, though. But George Hall is certainly the starting cam and is miles better. We have got a decent transfer kitty and a lot of wage budget to sign. We are only signing under 23s. We are only doing that because otherwise this rebuild will be way too easy. So under 23s only, and of course we're going to spend loads of money because, I mean, Tom Brady's in charge somewhere, and I'm sure he's a stakeholder, and he's got loads of money. So we spent £10 million overall, not just on one player, on 4 this time. Number 1 is young right back from Watford, Ryan Edwards. This guy looks like a great backup to even led. If he does get injured, we've got someone that is quick, is young, can cross the ball, exactly what we want. Starting 2 is from Hull. It's Javier Simmons. This guy comes through the Chelsea Academy and is absolutely fantastic. Great teamwork, great physical stats as well, and a centre defensive midfielder who's 6 foot tall and loves big matches. Our third signing is a backup striker because Alfie May is leaving the club. It's Ivan Azon from Zaragoza. Great physical stats, good finishing and composure as their little link up with 15 determination while being consistent and liking big matches. And our final signing is Liam Morrison from QPR. He went to Bayern Munich when he was very, very young, ended up going to QPR this season in real life, and we've poached him for just £700,000. A good Sky Bet Championship defender. Our defence is absolutely crazy, so we didn't need anyone really that good because Dion Sanderson, Liam Morrison, Bielik, Clara, I mean, it is mental the quality we have got. We're going with Peacock Farrell in goal, Ethan Laird, Bielik, Clara, Buchanan, Paik Siang Ho, Javier Simmons, Jay Stansfield, George Hall, Hansen, and Azon up front. Trying to get Stansfield out wide. Is it going to happen? I don't know. With them signings, we are predicted to come in 12th place in the league as a newly promoted side. Is pretty crazy. We are 20-1. We are facing up against Bournemouth, Forest, and Ipswich, who have been relegated from the Premier League. Can we make a charge for the playoffs? We did have some massive results this season, beating Norwich 5-2 away from home and 4-1 at home as well. It's safe to say the Canaries were our absolute whipping boys. Well, in fact, it was just East Anglia as a whole, because we went away to Ipswich and also battered them 3-1. But sadly, both of them were the ones laughing as Ipswich come second and get promoted, and Norwich go promoted via the playoffs on 88 points, while we come 8th on 72. I don't quite understand how that happens. We bag 9 goals past Norwich in 2 games, but they only lose 10 all season with a 28 goal difference. And Ipswich, we batter 3-1 away from home, and they come second. I don't understand it. The wonderful algorithm of Football Manager. Forest win the league on 101, but overall a very impressive season for us. 72 points, more wins than losses, is exactly what we're looking for in our first season. We were predicted in 12th, went down to 16th as we got through the season, but overall a pretty successful second season in the rebuild. And to be honest, Jay Stansfield's ruined everything. He's too good. He is literally stopping our new signing Ivan Azon from getting on the pitch. 19 goals and 3 assists. Emil Hansen as well, who we've not touched on yet. 14 goals, 11 assists. Scott Wright, 10 goals, 9 assists. Paul Williamson, 8 goals and 3 assists from 15 starts from DM is also crazy. And our centre-backs also went off. George Hall struggled a little bit getting into the championship this season. 6 goals and 5 assists in 43 games. But I'm sure he'll get there. And Ramel Donovan, he hardly played, but was available for the under-21s and was fairly decent when he did play as well. So it's good to see him in the first team and growing around George Hall as well. A fairly successful-ish second season. This season's going to be difficult, though. We've spent too much money. We've got a minus 100,000 wage budget and we need to sell. So we sold Christopher Clara for £22 million to Bristol City. Lyndon Dykes finally left the club and went and joined Oviedo. He's hardly been around, to be honest. We got £1 million for him, and as someone that also likes QPR, I couldn't wait to see the back of him. We sold Scott Wright to Derby for £8.5 million as a 28-year-old winger. I think that's a great sale. Tomoki Iwata, also at 29 years of age, leaves the club to join Vissel Kobe for £7 million. And our final decent sale is Mark Leonard, who has left the club to go to Portsmouth for £1.8 million. We have now got a whole bunch of money to really improve this squad. So first up is Say Childs, coming in from Southampton for £10 million. He has a value of $33 million. He's been on loan at Sheffield Wednesday and West Brom in the past 2 seasons, and he is an absolute wonder kid. This guy is superb, great on the ball, good at winning the ball back, can also fit into centre back, is consistent, and is just 22 years of age with 31 caps for the Northern Irish nation. Marcel Ratnick is signing number 2. He comes in from Napoli after a great loan spell at Reading for just $5.5 million. Yusuf Chamiti is up next, $4.5 million from Everton at just 22 years of age is fantastic. We went and signed another Scottish winger, but this time younger, faster and better. It's Liam Smith, signed from Swansea for £8.5 million. And our final piece of business was to bring Cade Gordon in on loan from Liverpool. Just needed a bit more rotation in the wings. And that leaves our team looking stronger and stronger. Peacock, Farrell, Ethan Laird, Bielik, Ratnick and Buchanan, with Paik Sang-hyo, Shay Charles, Hansen, George Hall, Liam Smith and Stansfield leading the way. We are looking to become championship victors. We are predicted to come 16th. We know that is not where we're going to finish, because we're going to finish 9th again. And I'm going to be very disappointed. I feel like we progressed massively this season and the team just didn't quite do what we wanted it to do. 70 points, 2 seasons in the championship. But what I will say is a much younger and a growing squad. I think part of our issue is the fact that we're trying to make Jay Stansfield a winger. In the match engine, he's just playing up front, and we then sort of lose a bit of quality on the wing because we're not admitting that Jay Stansfield is our striker. I didn't really want that to be the case. I wanted him to come in as our right winger, but the match engine keeps putting him there, and when it does that, it means we're losing a bit of quality elsewhere. So it is what it is. The second season of the Championship, 9th again, shocking in the FA Cup, shocking in the Carabao Cup. The good thing is we did fix a lot of financial issues in that last season, to the point where we have now got quite a nice transfer kitty in the Championship of £8.5 million, and it looks like there's not a lot of debt on the club either. If we do check out debt and loans, literally just £2.5 million in transfer debt. We're going to run that up at some point because we're going to go mental when it comes to signings in this rebuild. If you do want to get yourself your hands on this Birmingham save or any rebuilds we've done in the past, join up to the Patreon. The link is just down below. I'm also running a 3 giveaway copy of Football Manager, 3 copies of Football Manager 2025, that is, I'm giving away to you guys that are over on Patreon. It is Patreon exclusive. If you sign up now, you'll be in it for October's draw. I'm also giving away another 3 or 4 copies in November as well. So if you want to get yourself a chance at a free copy of FM25, or maybe a £5 a month copy of FM25 for the first month anyway, and you can cancel it if you want to, that is all linked down below. Patreon is the place to be for all your free files from Kempi. Let's get involved to the next season, season 4. We need to do a lot better. And well, we really have made Norwich a rival. They have poached our star right back Ethan Laird, and when they come in for him, he did not decline. £61,000 a week, we can't quite offer that. We did get £15 million, which is great, but we need to replace him. So welcome in free agent signing Calvin Ramsey, signed from Liverpool. A carbon copy of Ethan Laird, 23 years of age, great going forward, great determination, great crossing, a little bit injury prone. We couldn't have got a more similar player if we tried. We did make another free agent signing as well of Yassi Nayari coming in from Brighton. His contract ran out. I think he's an unbelievable player in real life. For some reason, Football Manager, he's not quite got that ability. We're going to try and harness that in this rebuild. But don't worry, because we didn't only sign free agents, we also spent a hell of a lot of money. Number 1, Michael Olagikbe comes in from Brentford. This guy looks fantastic. Great speed, great crossing, great dribbling, consistent as well. £9 million. He's been out on loan in the Championship where he did bits for Sheffield United 2 years ago. I'm hoping this season he can bring back that form. We also loaned in Mario Kozia-Dubry from Brighton to be a rotational winger. And then we signed Barjan Gruda. I don't know how, but £1.7 million is all it took to sign him away from Brighton. He joined them from Mainz for, I think, about £20 million in the summer window in real life. He's pretty decent on FM as well. I've seen him grow to being an absolute superstar. And the theory is just not yet, but for £1.7 million, I'm certainly willing to take the risk. And we've given him a German mate as well, because Jonas Erbig comes in from 1FC Cologne, one of the best one-ticket goalkeepers on the game. We needed to bring in a goalkeeper this season, because after this season and possibly next, all the Wonder Kids are going to be regens, so I needed to bring in a superstar, and Jonas Erbig really is one of the best young goalkeepers on the game. And our final signing is Renato Vega coming in from Chelsea for just £3.5 million. He never played a game for the Blues, so he's coming to the better Blues, Birmingham, where he's going to be a superstar. The team looks quite different this season. Jonas Erbig, Ramsey, Bielik, Ratnick and Buchanan, with Vega, Charles, Olagikbe, George Hall, Liam Smith and Jay Stansfield. Backups wise, Romelu Donovan is still here. He's not growing quite as well I hoped, and as mentioned, his technicals really aren't very good, and they're not growing very much as well compared to George Hall, who is getting a lot of game time and is progressing into a fantastic central attacking midfielder. The rest of the team, though, is brilliant. The backups are decent. We have got a lot of players in the squad now that are good enough to be on the edge of Premier League quality. Still predicted 14th. Let's just not finish 9th. We sort of have to get promoted this year. It's quite a strong championship with Fulham, Brentford, Southampton, Wolves, Burnley, Sheffield United, all still here in the championship. But let's break into that top 6. Well, first up, we're going to Wembley and not in the playoffs. This is the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. And that was about as glorious as it got for us because Renato Vega scored in 12 minutes to make it 1-0. But that just angered probably the best team in the world as Haaland scored and then Foden scored to make it 2-1. And they just ran away with this game. But what an unbelievable story that in the Championship, we got all the way to the semis of the FA Cup. Simply unbelievable. I'm absolutely buzzing, and it bodes well that surely we had a fantastic championship season. Well, we did just about get promoted. 82 points, level with Fulham, 1 point better than Brentford, 2 points better than Southampton, and only 4 points away dropping out of the playoffs. Doesn't matter, it's enough. And we're promoted in second place, up with Wolves and Southampton. A pretty fantastic season this year, and a lot of players stood out. Jay Stansfield again seems to get 19 goals every season. George Hall took a massive step up. That first season in the Championship, he got 5 goals. This season, 18. He's progressed very nicely. And well, it was also a lone player which massively improved us, and Mario Kozia-Dubry. They say don't fall in love with lone players. It's difficult when they get 29 goal contributions in 47 games. This guy is lights out good, and we're going to try and bring him back for the Premier League season. He is just still 23 years of age. Renato Vega was fantastic, 10 goals, 2 assists. Barjan Gruda for £1.7 million, 18 goal contributions, brilliant. Michael Aglipe, 14 goal contributions. Shea Charles is great in DM as well. Christian Bielik's good. Chimiti's a good backup. Liam Smith still here as well. 8 assists for Calvin Ramsey. Decent, not quite Ethan-led numbers, but I'm sure he'll get there. And Lou Buchanan also being solid on the left-hand side of things as well. Time to move on, though, to our Premier League campaign. £35 million in transfer budget, lots of wage budget. Finances are in the mud. That Premier League money is going to help that because we need it too. So let's go mental. First off, clearing out some deadwood. Emil Hansen, £5 million off to Getafe. Paix Young-Hyo going to Levante for £4 million. And finally, William Paul Williamson going for £1 million to Granada. And we then made just 3 signings for our Premier League campaign. Number 1 is young backup centre-back Oakley Honor coming in from Sunderland for £5 million. And well, there was another player from Sunderland that looked absolutely unbelievable and we broke the bank for. Kieran Ewing? He looks unbelievable. 18 determination, great aggression, great physicals, great work rate, great technique, £27 million value, £14.5 million is the total cost so far. He looks ridiculously good to the point where he could go to the very top of the game. And finally, we needed that superstar striker and moving Jay Stansfield out wide, and Nelson Viper is going to be the man to do that. He is one of the best one-legged strikers you can get on Football Manager, and he's here for 15 million quid. Great determination, great physicals, great finishing, great consistency, loves big matches. Nelson Viper is going to be the man to lead this team to glory. We are sticking in our 4-2-3-1, and that's because we've got 2 great central defensive midfielders in Renato Vega and Ewig. We've got Erbig, Ramsey, Bielik, Ratnick and Buchanan at the back with Onagumikpe, George Hall, Liam Smith and Nelson Viper. Actually dropped Stanfield to the bench. Yeah, might not happen. He might go on to the right wing and Onagumikpe comes to the left wing. We'll see what happens in the match engine, but our team now is looking pretty strong and full of wonder kids. Well, we were predicted to come at bottom of the league at 900 to 1 odds to win the Prem. But we caused upsets left, right and centre, kicking things off with a 2-0 victory over Manchester United. We took points off of a very strong Spurs side away from home, and even nearly grabbed all 3 points against Manchester City, where they were saved from a 91st minute winner from Jeremy Doku. But the good news, we're back to absolutely battering Norwich 4-2, a hat-trick from Nelson Viper, and all of them victories collated to a pretty decent first season in the Premier League. 11th place, just 1 place outside of getting a European spot somehow, with 46 points, 12 wins, 16 losses and 10 draws, and Nelson Viper being 3rd on the Premier League top goal scorers chart. Maybe one day he'll catch Haaland, even though he's just bagged 45 goals, and throughout this season campaign so far, he's been ridiculous, but that season in particular is an absolute joke. An 8.1... What on earth? That is robotic. And it seems like Rico Lewis is also having a pretty dangerous season, winning on the average ratings behind Haaland on a 7.37. And it's safe to say we are doing very well ourselves. We have now got a team which is competing in the Premier League at the mid-table level. We just now need to take it to the next level. We need to give Nelson Viper a bit of help. 3 goals from Liam Smith, not enough. We did have, obviously, the man, Jay Stansfield, but 2 goals in the Premier League and 5 assists is not enough. As predicted, he played a lot of right wing, just not quite good enough. George Hall, 5 and 6. I don't mind using him because he's Birmingham through the academy. I just hope it gets better. Michael Wallace-Big 9 goals contributions is great. Kieran Ewig, unbelievable. 6.77 as a 20-year-old in the Premier League is unreal. He is now wanted by Chelsea and Manchester United. Hopefully we can keep hold of him. It's going to be difficult. Renato Vega, great in the Prem. Lee Buchanan also staying here. Calvin Ramsey as well with 10 goal contributions from right back is crazy good for us. Financially wise, yeah, we spent a lot of money last summer. So this season is going to be difficult to spend quite as much money. The finances are taking a bit of a beating. The Premier League money didn't help us quite as much as I hoped it did. We have put a little bit of debt on the club. Hopefully we can get out of that, because we need to get to the point where we're challenging the likes of Haaland at Manchester City. And while selling our star players isn't going to help that. Kieran Ewig leaves the club after just 1 season for £23 million to Chelsea. He officially has the Wonder Kid tag to him. I knew he was good. I didn't realise he was going to be this good. But sadly, he's off to Chelsea, but we'll take the 23 million. In return, they did give us Esteval on loan from Palmeiras. He's not quite developed as much as I hoped he would, and I really want to see him do really well. He is currently only a 2-star player, but with his stats there, he's going to get a lot of game time. We then signed Elias Baum for £6 million as a backup fullback from Elfsberg, before signing a potential superstar centre-back in Graham Gebby. From Aberdeen, he's got 5 caps for Scotland at 19 years of age. He's got extreme consistency. He's 6'3". He's great in the air. He's got great physicals, great mentally as well, and hopefully can grow into a stud. We also signed Ishe Samuel Smith from Chelsea on a free agent contract as a backup left back. And our final signing is Gabriel Moscardo from PSG to really shore up that central defensive midfield spot. He's not had too much game time since going to PSG. He's got a cap for Brazil. He's 23 years of age. There's a long way to go in this guy's career, and hopefully it can be here at Birmingham. The team is now littered with wonder kids from back to front. Urbig, Ramsey, Gebby, Ratnick, Buchanan, Shea Charles and Renato Vega, Esteval, George Hall, Olagikbe and Nelson Viper. We really are at a point where we should be staying in the mid-table Premier League range. But actually we broke in to the top half of the Premier League table, and Nelson Viper came second in the top goal scorers list. But you'll notice next to our name, a cheeky little Europa League spot is coming to Birmingham. And that's because we have won the FA Cup while playing against Manchester United. George Hall getting an assist after wicking it in to Michael Olagikbe at the back post. United replied pretty much instantly with Alejandro Garnacho making it 1-1, but we were the team on top in this game. In the second half, we just had enough about us. Shea Charles found Calvin Ramsey for a great finish into the back of the net for 2-1, and a third was coming as well as Renato Vega's high press slipped it across to Shea Charles, the DM partnership linking up. A 3-1 victory, and Birmingham are FA Cup winners yet again. I say yet again, that is actually the first time they've ever won the FA Cup. So massive dub, Birmingham. First ever FA Cup has come from your boy Kempi. And that wraps up a very successful season number 6. The team is looking good. We are stronger than ever, and our Wonder Kids are really progressing. Financially, we are recovered massively. £75 million transfer budget, a whole bunch in the wage budget, and 60 million quid in the bank, with next season being our first in European football. And when there was only one man I wanted to bring back this season, Kieran Ewig is back. He played 4 games for Chelsea after they spent £23 million on him. We've brought him back home, right? We've got lots of money. I've loaned him in, and if we do somehow have a good season, we can buy him for double what we sold him for Chelsea for just 2 seasons ago. It sounds ridiculous, but he's a fantastic young DM. We've seen he's got the Wonder Kid tag. His potential really is off the charts, and I want him at the club, and I want him to lead us to Champions League glory. And well, because that was just a loan deal, it left us lots of money to spend out elsewhere. So £46 million, we bring in one of the most exciting young players in real life, Mickey Moore from Spurs. To be his rotational option on the wing is David Woods from Northern Ireland, 20 years of age, signed from Swansea. This guy looks outrageous. Great physical stats, great mentals with 16 finishing. Are we seeing the next George Best? This guy's also got the Wonder Kid tag. And finally, it's Alan Arbando, signed from Brighton for just £6.5 million. His career has not gone as it normally does on FM. He is not as good as I expect him to be. £6.5 million is an absolute bargain though, and hopefully he can progress. Well, the team is still looking very strong, and we still have them 2 players in the starting 11 from the start of the video. George Hall in Cam is going nowhere. He is absolutely fantastic. He has progressed into such a well-rounded Cam and really is a superstar. Well, Lee Buchanan has surprised me a whole bunch. Absolutely incredible. Stayed here from day one and is consistently a superstar left back. We've now got Woods, Olagikbe, Viper, who is still crazy good, with Buchanan, Ratnick, Gebbie, Ramsey and Erbig in goal. Hopefully, this team is going to be good enough to compete in the Europa League. Maybe not win it, but compete in it, and maybe somehow we can get back in a European competition for the next season. Well, it seems like we're one of the best teams in the Europa League because we've just absolutely smashed it. 7 wins, 1 loss from 8 games. And we're flying straight into the round of 16. We faced up against SK Rapid and won 5-3 on aggregate. And it's also cool to see Jay Stansfield still knocking about, grabbing 2 late winners. In the quarterfinals, we were facing up against Liverpool, and it was going to be a very difficult task to get past them. But we do have a very special central defensive midfielder in Kieran Ewig, who gets off to a fantastic start in just 5 minutes. The only issue is Liverpool have Victor Osimhen, and he's also quite good. He scores in just 9 minutes. 10 minutes later, we are back on the charge. It drops to Kieran again. He finds David Woods, and maybe he is the second coming of George Best. What a finish. 2-1. We are in the lead. But that is not all for this game. In fact, this tie is one of the most mental ties in European history. Viper puts us 3-1 up before Liverpool bounce back. Still in the first half, by the way, with another goal from Victor Osimhen to make it 3-2. We are going to make it 4-2. Ewig and Ishe Samuel Smith finds Ola Gigbe. Ewig again on the ball. How's a brace for our DM? This guy is so good. It's 4-2. But guess who else is quite good? Victor Osimhen for 4-3 in the first leg. Away from home though, we won in the 5th. I can't believe I'm saying that. More on the right wing. 5-3. What on earth has just happened? One of the most ridiculous European ties I've ever seen. And well, the second leg is going to be just as ridiculous, I promise you now. I don't know what happens when we face up against Liverpool. Mad things happen. Darwin Núñez scores to make it them just 1 goal behind. They're going to score again, so we are drawing 5-5, I believe, on aggregate as things stand. But we're going to have an absolute regeneration and score 3 goals with no reply. Number 1 from Nelson Viper. Number 2, a very similar goal, but this time from Gebbie in the box. The Scottish centre-back has been simply fantastic. And the third after George Hall finds a ball into the box for Calvin Ramsey, who finds Ole Gigbe. That is 3 in a row. But guess what? It's not over. Liverpool come back at us. Eric Garcia, Arda Güler, McAllister, Darwin Núñez. Yeah, another goal. It's currently 8-6 on aggregate, and Osimhen scores to make it 8-7 on aggregate. And that is where it finishes. We win 8-7 on aggregate against Liverpool, and somehow we're going to the semi-finals, where things were much more relaxed. We faced up against PSV. We won the third leg 3-0 with goals from Moscardo, Viper and David Woods. And the away leg we drew 1-1. So we're going to the final and we're facing the team that come top of the league phase. So it's first and second going head to head. And well, I tell you what, we have built a special side. We do get a bit lucky. It's just 4 minutes in. It classes an own goal as Chan Bosgadans hits off his head after a ridiculous shot from Shea Charles. but we also just went on to dominate them. A ridiculous ball there from Ewig to find Vapor for 2-0. For Buchanan whips it into the back stick for Kempi to make it 3, and Birmingham lift the European trophy. It's the Europa League. We didn't have quite as good of a season this season in the Premier League, coming 11th. We obviously qualified for the Champions League for winning the Europa League, and to be honest, playing an extra 16 to 18 games, I think it's fair to say that's a pretty decent season, given the fact we're only signing wonder kids, the rotation isn't there, we haven't got the experience, and we've still managed to come mid-table 3 seasons in a row now in the Premier League, and next year is the Champions League. So more money to spend, more improvements we made to this team, and I genuinely think we probably could make no more signings and would get there anyway, because David Woods is unbelievable. He is such a good pickup for just £8 million. Unbelievable pace, unbelievable finishing, great leadership. 21 years of age is amazing. I mean, Nelson Viper just scored 40 goals. If you've never used him before and you're new to FM, with it being free on Epic Games, well, was free on Epic Games last week, surely you've used him by now. If you haven't, use him. He's fantastic. Jay Stansfield still smashing it. 12 goals, 2 assists. Kieran Ewig, 10 goals, 10 assists. 22 years of age. I couldn't care less. He's joining the club. I would mud the club. I would give Chelsea the rights to own Birmingham to the fact that we could have Kieran Ewig. And if you haven't seen the video, we actually built 2 Chelsea teams at once. That is one of the last videos released on the channel, where I built Chelsea A and B. So they quite literally brought 2 clubs. It's Todd Bowley's dream. Go and watch it. It's fantastic. After this though, because you need to see how this video ends. We've got a bit of money to spend, but Kieran Ewig has to come in. We're getting to the point though where challenging for a Champions League is coming up thick and fast. And well, there you go. £43 million. Kieran is back as a Birmingham midfielder, and it feels good. He's not just on loan anymore. I feel like we've been a little bit mugged off. We paid £15.7 million for that loan spell, which is absolutely crazy. Overall, we spent, what is that, 58 million plus the 20 plus the 15. We spent about 80 million quid on this geezer, but he's absolutely fantastic, and I'm a massive fan. Kieran Ewig, you saw some of the goals he scores, you see how good he is defensively. Unreal. And but I thought he was good enough to be Jesus himself, but it isn't, so we've signed Jesus himself. Coming in from Sporting Gijon, of course, it's Jesus, a great attacking left back. It's going to be a great rotation option with Lee Buchanan. Great physicals, good crossing, also great defensively, which is quite rare to find a wing back just this good. And well, because we're getting to the point where we are absolutely sending everything to win the Champions League, I've got a little bit mental of instalments inside Faruk Tomic. He's a Montenegrin centre-back coming in from Napoli. We spent about 70 million, it was 55 million pounds on him. It could go up to 60. I gave him like 10 million pounds up front. The rest of them, the never money. Look, he's brilliant, and we needed a great centre-back. And finally, it's another cam to come in and rotate with George Hall. It's Nikolai Steinlin from Denmark. This guy is unbelievable. Great physicals, great dribbling, great technique, great vision, great flair. Unbelievable scenes. If you want to know how I scout these players, I released a video on the weekend where I show you guys all my scouting methods, whether it's free agents, we've signed a lot of them in this video, whether it's wonder kids, again, we've signed all of them pretty much in this video, and if it's Moneyball signings as well, I show you all 3 scout methods that I use for my videos on the weekend. So if you want to see how we find players like this unbelievable player Nikolai Steinlin, or David Woods, or Jesus, it is all in the video linked on the channel about scouting. The team is now looking brilliant, still very young, not a lot of experience in there, but I tell you what, it's absolutely beautiful. And we're here in season 8. We are going to lift the 2nd FA Cup in Birmingham's history. And of course, we stopped Spurs from lifting a trophy. They tried by going 1-0 up, but the high press system of Birmingham worked an absolute dream. David Woods pouncing on a defensive mistake, and then went to extra time where we scored 2 goals and absolutely bullied them. Kieran Ewig with an assist into Nelson Viper for 2-1. And a third coming in the 121st minute. Jay Stansfield from an Ratnick to Ewig to Michael Olagikbe. 3-1, a 2nd FA Cup in today's video, and making Birmingham winners again. And but I've really wanted us to win the Premier League as well this season, but we were quite a little bit short, 15 points away from Chelsea, even though Nelson Viper is creeping ever closer to Erling Haaland. Man City, not Chelsea is what I mean. It's just impossible. City's team is an absolute joke, and they've got 87 points. We can't really get near them. When it comes to their tactic, they've got, was that Inzaghi in charge? A 5-back with Haaland and Kleber up front, who, by the way, might be the best striker I've ever seen. I wish we had him, actually. He looks great. I really like him. But, I mean, yeah, it's just impossible to beat them. They're an absolute joke. They're going to win everything. In the Champions League, though, we gave ourselves a very good showing. We come 10th in the league phase, but we are going to go into the knockout playoff round. But again, pretty decent showing. We faced up against RB Salzburg and absolutely smashed them. In the first leg, it was a convincing 3-1 victory away from home, and at home it was just as good. Nelson Viper got us off to a great start, making it 1-0 before new signing Steinlen finds Viper in the middle to make it 2-0, and with just 5 minutes to go we were 6-1 winners overall as Steinlen drives into the middle, fires an absolutely outrageous effort into the top corner and sends Birmingham to the round of 16. When we played Chelsea and lost 1-0 in leg 1 and 1-0 in the second leg as well, meaning our Champions League run ends here. We are in the Champions League for season number 9 and I'm in full send it mode. We've got quite a bit of money. Let's just break every transfer record possible. We're not going to go that crazy, actually, but we are going to bring in some unbelievable players. Christian Spazov joins from PSG for just £40 million. Angel Ruano comes in as a great young right back from Sevilla. Maximilian Kerr comes in as a great backup DM. Bobby O'Kane joins the backup goalkeeper from Spurs. And Isaac Blasco joins the backup striker from Athletic Bilbao. This season was really about just improving our rotation options because our first team is an absolute joke. Jonas Urbig in goal, Calvin Ramsey, Gebi, Tomic, Jesus, Ewig, Gabriel Moscardo, David Woods, Steinlen, Spazov and Nelson Viper. We've still got on a Geek Bay. George Hall is still here. Sadly, I think I was actually wrong and Buchanan has left the club. I thought he stayed to the very end. He left for £16 million to go and join Ipswich last season. So no surprise it is George Hall that ends up being the man that's rotating in and out of the first team at the end of this rebuild. But unbelievable because he is absolutely fantastic and he's played 332 games and he's been unreal. And the best way for him to finish off this season is to lift lots of trophies. And we're going to kick things off in the FA Cup final and we're going to see if we can get George Hall on the score sheet. We go 1-0 up and we go 2-0 up. Steining starts in cam and scores a fantastic finish there. And Birmingham actually then get a red card, but somehow that helped them as they then score to make the game 2-1 from a great finish from João Guilherme, but we are going to make it 3. Ewig, who just seems to just drive forward in that Volante role, just sets everything up, and David Woods scores a screamer into the top corner to make it 3-3. Before Everton and their 10 men grab 2 goals. Kempi finds Buckmere to find Sedibe to make it 3-2, and they score again to make it 3-3. Braithwaite nearly scores a screamer. It falls to Oscar Gluck. He beats everyone and puts it into the top corner and sends the game to extra time. I don't know how we've let this slip, but we're not going to do a Gerrard. We are eventually going to lift it anyway. We are going to score thanks to an own goal there from Buckmere, and we are going to grab another to make it 5-3 as Tomic finds Gabriel Moscardo to find that man George Hall to score another FA Cup final. We're very close to making it a domestic double as well, but Manchester United beat us 1-0 in the Carabao Cup. So we turn our attention to the Champions League, and it's a very similar season to last season. 10th place, 1 place behind Bayern Munich. It's exactly what happened last year. And the knockout playoff round, we're also going to attempt to get through, this time against AC Milan. Calvin Ramsey whips it in, and Spazov is there to make it 1-0 in the 33rd minute before we got a red card. But similar to Everton, it just lit a fire under us and we scored more goals. Gabriel Moscardo there makes it 2-1 before Bermudez cuts the ball back into the box for Simeone to make it, well, now 2-1. Before a third coming in as George Hall sets it back to Ruano, to George Hall, to Shay Charles, who is still here, to Ruano for a 3-1 victory over AC Milan, and in the second leg it was a boring 0-0 draw, so we zoom on into the round of 16. Well, we faced that very same Everton side we beat in the FA Cup, and we beat them convincingly over 2 legs, with leg 1 being a 3-0 victory and leg 2 being 2-1 thanks to a Nelson Viper brace. In the quarterfinals we were facing up against Inter Milan, and in the first leg we drew 1-1 before the second leg when Nelson Viper absolutely blew them away with 4 goals of his own in a Champions League quarter-final. He scored 16 goals this season just in the Champions League. He really is one of the best wonder kids you could buy on FM, and he's got a good friend in him as well in George Hall, who is going to score one of the last kicks of this game to grab a 5th in this one. 4 from Viper, 5-0. We're going to the semi-finals. Well, we are facing Xabi Alonso's Bayern Munich, and they've got quite good over the years, as Gabri Veiga makes it 1-0 in 63 minutes, and we are away from home. So if we can somehow grab a point or a draw here, it'll be fantastic. And Odegikpe makes it possible with 1-1, but Bayer Leverkusen score again, making it 2-1 and leaving this tie with us all to do at St Andrews. And we do get off to a fantastic start, and there's no one else I'd rather it be as well. A ridiculous reverse shot from Kieran Earwig goes in against Kovar before Gabriel Moscardo scores from a spot to make it 2-0, but Bayer Leverkusen score again. Another game finishing 2-1, sending us to the dreaded penalties, which we win 10-9. Absolutely mental. Keepers took penalties. It was crazy. We ended up winning 10-9, and we're going to a Champions League final. And well, the run has been quite nice up until this point. I'm going to say this point. Here's now the final, and we're facing up against Mbappe's Real Madrid, and he scores in just 2 minutes. But we have got some superstars of our own. Kieran Earwig finds a great ball over to Ishe Samuel-Smith to find Nelson Viper in the middle to grab his first of the game. Yes, I mean first, because there's going to be more. He's through on goal again. He scores to make it 2-1. But Real Madrid peg us back. Bellingham, still here, finds Wataiwu to Rafa Marine to Vout with a fantastic finish from 30 yards out, sending the game to extra time. We're in the 121st minute. Nelson Viper heads home, and Birmingham lift the Champions League trophy. That was the goal of the rebuild. Birmingham are Champions League winners. Unbelievable scenes. You can see here we held our own against one of the best teams in the world. Nelson Viper starting up front. Mickey Moore, David Woods, Steinlen and Cam. Ewig and Moscardo and DM. Samuel Smith, Tomic, Gebi, Ruano and Erbig in goal. An unbelievable run in the Champions League. It was an unbelievable season in all cup competitions. In the league, we just fell off. We come 7th, still qualifying for the Champions League, but giving you guys a challenge on Patreon to go and win the Champions League with this Birmingham side. Unbelievable scenes with Viper scoring 37 and 8, Nicolas Steinin scoring 30 and getting 8 assists, with Michael Legikbe getting 12 and 6, and that man from the start, George Hall, playing 62 games this season with 17 goal contributions. Hats off to George Hall, an absolute legend. Thanks so much for watching the video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time. Now, we've all seen the Wonder Kid videos I've done where I take a team from lower league and win the UCL in 10 seasons. Today, I'm trying the polar opposite, taking Wigan from League 1 to Champions League winners using 30-plus-year-old signings only. This is a veterans rebuild. This is going to be very difficult and very different to anything we've ever done before. I'm not even sure if it's possible, but let's jump into the Wigan 30-plus veteran-only rebuild. And what's not very helpful is that Wigan don't exactly have good youth recruitment either. So the current team that we have got is pretty much what we've got until... I mean, we haven't really got anyone coming through the academy that's going to help us massively. At the end of this rebuild, it is going to be a bunch of 35-year-old men who are about to retire, hopefully lifting a Champions League trophy. Now, the team itself is fairly decent, apart from the fact we have got no recognised striker. We've got Josh Stones up front. Not John, don't worry, it's Josh. We've got him close down more and tackle harder. This tactic is going to have to change a lot as we go through this rebuild, because currently I'm just using a bog standard 4-2-3-1 high press system to try and get us up the leagues and a bit of money. This is going to have to change to a slow-paced OAP. I don't even know how this is going to work, to be honest, because we're going to have like 10 speed everywhere. It's going to be crazy hard because we know Football Manager itself is completely broken when it comes to physicals. If you have a team with good physicals, you can win anything. There's been tests where literally players that can't kick a ball but can run fast can win the Premier League. We're going to have players that can kick a ball but run very slowly. So this is probably going to go horrendously wrong, but that's the whole fun in it. Let's give it a try. We've got Sam Tickle in goal, so we have got a very good goalkeeper, hopefully going to be with us for a long time. Obviously, older goalkeepers will be very easy to sign because a 35-year-old goalkeeper is still 7 years away from retiring. but sadly we've got the best player as a goalkeeper. Calvin Ramsey's here on loan for the first season, which is great. They've got Steven Settignon, which is a very good fullback for League One. Sibic and Jason Carrot back look decent, with Jensen Veer, who is a fantastic young central defensive midfielder, with Matt Smith as well. The Doctor is here in DM with Jensen Weir. We've got Rankine as our right winger currently. He has got a lot of speed and is going to be very helpful for most of this rebuild. And an old man and Callum McManaman on the left wing. This is what we're going to be dealing with in the Premier League, but just hopefully a little bit better on the technical stats. Theo Asgard sits in the cam role with that man Josh Stones up front. Wigan in the League One this year are predicted to finish in 16th. So we haven't got the best of teams. I'm not expecting promotion this year. I just want to sort of have a decent season and hopefully get to the summer window and find some old men to sign. In terms of finances, it's okay. We've got £2.8 million in the bank. There's not really any debt on the club. So really, we should be absolutely fine. It's going to be difficult though. So let's just get into League One Season 1. Well, we actually bring you guys back in the playoffs in League One, which I did not expect in the slightest. We come 6th this season and go into the playoffs by, I believe, just 1 point. And we faced up against Stockport. And in the first leg, we're at home at the... Is it still the DW Stadium? I remember it as being the DW Stadium. We're here. We're going to win 3-0 and take it back to Stockport to see if we can get to the playoffs League One final, where we only lost 1-0 thanks to a corner header. So we are heading to the final with a chance of getting promoted into the Championship in Season 1. Now, for this Wigan team, that is going to be a reach. And remember, we can only sign old men. So building the squad is going to be difficult if we do get promoted. And what did you know? We are going to get promoted. That man, Josh Stones, is going to get us off to a fantastic start in just 12 minutes after a great ball from Dion Rankine to make it 1-0. And it took all the way to the 80th for us to grab a second. Oxford were none the wiser to how good we were in this game. Dilo Asgard makes it 2-0. Oxford finally replied after that goal, but that was all. It was going to be a 2-1 victory, and we were heading to the Championship. And normally that's very, very exciting, but I am not excited in the slightest because our team is really not very good. This tactic is just quite good. I mean, there's 2.5-star players pretty much from the midfield to the striker, apart from Dilo Asgard, who's fantastic. Dion Rankine's going to have to drop back to right back to replace Calvin Ramsey because he's not going to come back on loan, and that's the last person. Well, we can't sign anyone on loan unless they're 30 plus, so that makes it very difficult. Josh Stones is up front. He's scored 13 goals. He's a 2-star striker. He's not great, I'll be honest. And Callum McManaman is 34 and retiring. It's a big issue, and we haven't exactly got lots of money either. 2,045,000 in wage budget. Remember as well, older players, 30 plus, they are looking for their last big contract. So it's not like we're going to go out there and get anyone on super cheap wages. This is going to be very, very tough. And we're going to pretty much now just have to go and search for anyone that is 30 to 45 years of age and hope we can sign some good players. I mean, Guillermo Ochoa would be absolutely hilarious. Don't worry, I've not signed Guillermo Ochoa, but I have only signed free agents because it was all that was really possible. Number one signing I'm actually very, very happy with is Semi Ajayi. He's 31 years of age. He's got very good physical stats for a 31-year-old centre-back. He's also 6'4", consistent, live big matches, and joins a free agent contract from West Brom. Signing 2 is a Championship League One merchant. He's been over at Rangers in Scotland. It's Tom Lawrence. He loves to score absolute screamers, and hopefully Tom can do it again in the Championship here at Wigan. Jay Rodriguez is my third signing. Released from Burnley, you won't be surprised. He's very injury prone. He's 35. He's got no speed about him. Hopefully he can bag some goals. And what if he can't? We've got a 35-year-old Naki Wells to try and do it as well. He's a bagsman when it comes to the lower leagues of England. Just maybe not when he's got 9 acceleration and 11 pace. We shored up the defence a little bit more with the signing of Dominic Ayorfa, signed from Sheffield Wednesday, again on a free agent contract. Everyone we signed this window was free agents. It was the cheapest way possible of doing it. It meant we could bump the wage budget up as much as possible because someone like Dominic Ayorfa is on £10,000 a week. And as you can see, he's pretty average. We did make a huge signing though in the midfield. Jean-Daniel Akpro, released from Lazio. Never played in England before, but the 32-year-old is going to get his chance. He's going to be one of the best midfielders in the Championship. He's aggressive. He's got good physicals for a 32-year-old. Consistent, live big matches, and very good on the ball as well. This is actually a huge huge piece of business. And finally, we've signed the Luxembourg winger, Gerson Rodriguez, released from Dynamo Kiev. He's got some decent speed in him. He's quite consistent. He doesn't really like big matches, but he's got some decent stats overall, and at just 30 years of age. Hopefully, he'll have 2 or 3 years left because he's got some decent natural fitness on him as well. If you are trying this challenge along with me, natural fitness is something to certainly be looking at. It basically means their physical stats are going to go down at a slower rate. So get it if you can. If you can't, fair enough. I mean, this challenge is just simply ridiculous. In terms of outgoings, there wasn't really many. Scott Smith, Chris Ceze, and Tyrese Francois all left the club this season. And the team we've got looks like so. It's okay, I suppose. It's Sam Tickle, Dion Rankine, Jensen Kerr, Sami Ajayi, and Steven Sessegnon at the back. I actually do not mind the defence at all. Midfield is Jensen Veer and Akpa Akpro. I think that's going to be a decent little midfield. Them two linking up nicely. Akpa Akpro sitting deep. Jensen going and putting his body about. On the right wing, we have the 35-year-old winger in Jay Rodriguez. I've got no idea how this is going to go. Hopefully fairly decent. And on the left wing is Gerson Rodriguez as well. Tilo Asgard keeps his spot in the cam role. And yes, somehow Josh Stones is staying as our striker. We literally had no more money to spend. There wasn't really any good strikers out there. Hence, so you can see I signed Naki Wells, Tom Lawrence, and Jay Rodriguez. The options are limited. Big Josh is going to have to do some bits this season. We are predicted to come second bottom with Lincoln at 150 to 1. And quite some distance away from anyone else. We need to hope this bunch of old men can save us. Our average age is disgustingly high. I mean, it's so counterintuitive to do an FM save of signing only 30-plus-year-old players. It makes simply no sense. I had to set up these recruitment focuses, which are simply the opposite of what we do in terms of the Wonder Kids. We're now looking for 30 to 50-year-olds. It's absolutely crazy. I hope you guys are enjoying this because you guys were screaming for this in the poll I'd done. If you do want any sort of say on the rebuilds we do, I often do a poll once a week to get your size sort of gauge of what you're looking for in the rebuilds on this channel. Make sure you're voting on them, and to vote on them, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because you see them as much as possible. And the other thing I want to mention as well is the Patreon. A massive thank you to the legends that are running down the screen right now. You guys are legends. You can get this ridiculous Wigan rebuild file at the end of it and everything else we do on the channel as well, and give yourself a chance to win a copy of FM25 as I'm giving away another 3 copies of FM25 this month to Patreon members exclusive. Sign up down there for a chance to do it. Let's get into our first season in the Championship. But we did have some massive results this season, and that man Josh Stones actually stepped up to the plate, bagging a hat-trick and a 5-1 victory over Watford. We also beat the favourites for the league in Burnley at home 3-1, with 2 of our new signings in Gerson Rodriguez and Daniel Akpa Akpro getting on the score sheet. But overall, it was a pretty average season, but much better than I also expected. We finished in 16th place. We got 62 points, so we were nearly double away from the relegation zone, and to be honest, only 12 points away from the playoff zone. And when you look at the Championship this season, there's a team in Nottingham Forest who have smashed it. That's because they've got Rasmus Højlund on loan. Or signed on loan. No idea how they've done that, but fair enough. That's the sort of Championship we're up against. FM goes mental normally in the Championship, as you can see, and we've given ourselves a pretty good chance here of building to a more sustainable place. However, the board don't think so at all. We have got no transfer budget, we are negative 15 grand on wage budget, and we are broke. They, well, running this rebuild means we have to put a lot of costs into wage budget. And that's what we done last season, and our wage budget was fine. But obviously they want us to cut that down, and that's not really possible. We haven't got much resale value in the squad. We have Sam Tickle, who we need to be a star goalkeeper. Tilo Asgard is our best player. Dion Rankine is a fantastic right back. But other than that, it's just a bunch of fairly average players or old men. So there's not really anyone I can sell, and we need to bring in a new DM, a new right winger, and 2 brand new centre-backs with absolutely no money. And let's face it, not the best backups. This is much harder than I thought it would be. So I simply made 2 free agent signings, and I'll be honest, both of them aren't very good. Number 1 is Indonesian centre-back Sandy Walsh, who's we've had to allocate an ESC slot to, which is expensive in itself because we've had to pay for work permits, and then they're so rare and so needed. We've had to do it because I couldn't sign another centre-back. So he's coming into the club on a free agent contract. And also Norberto Briasco he's been released from Boca over in Argentina. He's a decent winger. He's certainly going to help replace Jay Rodriguez on the right wing, who has retired. But that is it in terms of transfers. The only other one I brought in is Josip Radosevic, who's a central defensive midfielder who is joining in January on a pre-contract agreement. But other than that, you can sort of see the level of players who were going for up front in Jason Cummings, who didn't join the club, and Ashley Fletcher, who was well too expensive. We have managed to sort of jimmy a wage budget a little bit. We haven't exactly sold anyone. Kai Payne's at the club, and a bunch of players have retired because they're all old men. If we check out the retired list, something I never really go to and check, but Callum McManaman, a bunch of players here. And then again this year, Jay Rodriguez, Naki Wells, Tyrese Francois, Toby Sibic, James Carragher, Akpa Akpro has left the club after just one season, which is gutting, but he wouldn't sign a brand new contract. I mean, he is wanted by the likes of Oxford and Plymouth, so a bit disappointed, but it is sort of what it is. This is the team we've got. It's not as good as last year, and we've got no money to improve it. I genuinely think this is a very, very difficult challenge. Sam Tickle, Rankin, Kerr, Ajayi and Settignon, Veer, Smith, Briasco, Asgard and Jerson Rodriguez with Josh Stones. So really we've brought in Semi Ajayi and Jerson Rodriguez and Briasco, and that is the only three signings. Other than that, it's the base Wigan squad. Signing old men makes things very, very difficult. I don't like it at all. It adds a big challenge and it's counterintuitive. We are now 250 to 1. Last year was 150, so this year is going to be basically impossible. Well, I don't quite know how, but this season we were absolutely mental, and I want to showcase that in a 5-1 victory against relegated Ipswich from the Premier League. I mean, this is still a very strong side, but we have absolutely battered them. And maybe there's something to be said about old men on a football pitch. Maybe you don't need pure speed. Maybe you need technical ability, a bit of grit and determination, a bit of championship fight, or just running to the byline and cutting it back to the Ginger Messi and Josh Stones. Jerson Rodriguez is a fantastic free agent signing, and it's quite fun because we're finding new players that I would never normally use before. Tom Lawrence sitting in the hole, picking up great spaces and scoring goals. I didn't expect it, but here we are. FM24 veteran rebuild. Maybe it's a piece of easiness. And but all of this got us to the Championship playoffs. We faced up against Sheffield United and went 1-0 down thanks to a fantastic finish from Kiefer Moore. I'd quite like me a signing like Kiefer Moore at some point, but we are going to grab the game to 1-1 and take it back to the DW Stadium thanks to a goal from Matt Smith. And it was going to be a very similar game here at the DW Stadium as well. Another draw and another screamer scored, this time from Gustavo Hamer. That's not exactly what I want to see. I want to see our scoring screamers, not Big Gus. Dominic Iorfa whips it into the backstick and Gerson Rodriguez is there to make it 1-1. But Sheffield United do reply, making it 2-1 as James Bree finds Norrington Davis on the left. He fires it into the top corner and we are losing. But that man, the Ginger Messi, Josh Stones in the 94th minute gives us a glimmer of hope and sends the game to penalties. And thanks to a missed penalty from Cabal of Sheffield United, we win 5-4 and we head to the playoff final. Well, we faced Derby and they had a striker who scored the first goal in this game of Caden Jackson, who I absolutely was gunning for last summer and didn't quite get. And he was going to be the forward in our side. He scored the first goal before we made it 1-1 thanks to an own goal from Tabidzi. Well, in fact, we're going to leave Caden Jackson behind in the Championship because we are going to get promoted 2-1. Briasco finds the Ginger Messi and Wigan, yes, Wigan with 30-year-olds only, are going to the Premier League. We managed to get this team to finish in 4th place, a point behind Derby who come 3rd, but a very good season. We finished on 77 points. Scarily enough, just 6 points down would be in 11th place. That just shows what a ridiculous league the Championship is, but the passion, the grit, the determination of the old men got us to a very good position and we are promoted. We are going up, and Josh Stones, I mean, I'm going to have to give him a chance in the Premier League. The guy scored 21 goals in 36 games. I don't know if he's like a Wigan boyhood player. He's not. He's joined from Guiseley and Ross County, so he's not like a wonder kid through the academy, but pretty sick to see Josh Stones leading Wigan to the Premier League. He's a good League One player. I believe that as well. He's just scoring goals for us somehow. Philo Asgard has got his chance as well. Some great goals and assists this season. And Jerson Rodriguez proving what a signing he was with 22 goal contributions. Dion Rankin still doing bits. Matt Smith, Stefan Sessignon and new signing Norberto Briasco as well. And because we go down in the Championship, the board have given us some money. So hopefully this is where we can now finally build a very strong team using the money, not just using free agents, and hopefully actually make a push for this Champions League. Well, believe it or not, our reputation was absolutely rubbish. So our first signing as a free agent, He's a starting centre-back. It's Reece Burke. We're going to get absolutely demolished. Signing 2 is released from Bournemouth, Philip Billing, a signing I'm actually much more hopeful of. He's a big 6'5" player with great physical stats. He adds a lot of pace and power and technical ability into the team. I think he's going to be fantastic. And signing 3 is our final free agent signing. Released from Burnley, it's Manuel Benson. He's now 30 years of age. He's extremely consistent and he's quick. And we need to just inject some pace into this team. We then go back to the Championship and to Southampton and poach Joe Aribo for just £1.1 million, which I think is an absolute steal. As a cam with his fantastic technical ability, he is going to be an absolute superstar. We signed a striker, which I think is probably going to overtake Josh Stones. It's Marcus Ingvartsen, signed from San Diego, the second tier of the MLS. He's a decent Premier League striker. I've got no idea what he's doing over there because he's actually very good. Great finishing, decent physicals, 6'2", consistent, live big matches. And hopefully Marcus can actually lead us to some sort of decent top half charge. And our final signing was Henyi Onyekuru, signed from Alafaya. Again, just injecting some speed into the team. It's much needed. He's not the technically best player in the world, but we really needed someone with outrageous pace, and that is exactly what Henry brings. In terms of our tactics, we are now looking at Sam Tickle, Rankin, Burke, Kerr, Sessegnon, Veer, Billing, Benson, Aribo, Onyekuru, and Ingvartsen. The backups, it's a little bit light, but it's certainly better than it has been. The squad is nowhere near good enough. If we survive, it's purely down to the tactic, I'll be honest. We are 1,000 to 1 to win the league. We are basically Leicester, but a much, much worse. I mean, Ipswich, who beat 5-1 last season, are 200 to 1. So maybe we are going to upset things again. I'm not hopeful. We could be going straight back down, which would cause absolute mayhem for our finances. Well, as we look through the schedule, it's not great, but it's actually not awful. We lost to pretty much all the big teams. Didn't really pick up many wins unless it was a 4-0 against Bristol City or a 5-0 against Bournemouth. December was fairly decent as well, with 3 victories coming, but pretty much the second half of the season was loss after loss. A lot of goals conceded until we got all the way down to April. We won 4 games in 5. It was against Bournemouth, Ipswich, Villa and Leicester. But was it going to be enough to stay up? And honestly, simply because the bottom 3 was so rubbish, yes it was. We had 34 points, which is embarrassing. But Leicester had 27, Luton had 23, and Ipswich had 15 points. That is absolutely shocking. We stay up on 34. The magic total was normally 40. We have seen it drop a few times in recent years, but 34 and coming 16th is incredible. Even Bristol City survived on 28 points. 20 losses and 5 wins. We at least had 10 wins, 4 draws and 24 losses, but 20 losses is incredible to stay up. I mean, we had 24. We just won more games. We were more clinical in the end, and maybe that's the old man experience coming in clutch. There's not really much to show you from this season. Ingvartsen was decent. John Aribo was good as well. Philip Billing was good. Jerson Rodriguez was good. Dion Rankin is a fantastic right back. If you guys need a quick right back that can whip a ball in, this guy's decent at it. He's only got 7 crossing, but it doesn't really matter in FM. You're going to get him to the byline. He's going to cut it back. He's only got 8 passing. Honestly, it just shows that stats don't mean a lot, but having 18 acceleration and 17 pace means a whole bunch because he grabs 10 assists. The ginger Messi Josh Stones scored 3 goals and 3 starts. I mean, he's a backup. He's a Wigan lad. He's staying here. I mean, other than that, I've not really got much to say about this season. We just about survived. The rest of the teams were absolutely rubbish. We've been given a bunch of money, which is good. £48 million to try and stay up in the Premier League. So our first signing is Tosin Adebayo. It never quite worked in for Chelsea. He didn't play a single game in 2 years. He went to Southampton and played 3. And now he joins us for £5.5 million. Again, 30 years of age, good physicals in the centre-back. We're really just trying to sign the youngest players we can, and maybe then bring in some, I say experience. 30 is very experienced. But realistic for a centre-back, he's in his prime, he's consistent. It says he's a good League One player. I don't believe that in the slightest. He is going to be decent enough for the Premier League. The next signing is a former wonder kid in Emre Moore. I'm very excited by this one. Again, good physicals, but more because this guy actually looks like a very good player. Good flair, good aggression, good physicals, great consistency, 1 million player traits, which might be confusing. Good dribbling, good finishing, good first touch. he actually looks quite good. He cost us a grand total of 6.25 million. He scored 8 goals last year in the top tier of Turkey. I think he can do bits for us. The next signing has been recently relegated, but it is Hamza Chowdhury, and he's not been recently relegated from Leicester, but from Luton. Wherever he goes, he gets relegated. Hopefully that's not something that sticks with him with us. He is now 30, he's consistent, he likes big matches, and very good well-rounded stats. And finally, a very good signing for just £1 million. It's Marcelinho Moreno. He's a central attacking midfield backup to Joel Aribo. He's consistent, he's great technically, and he's got some great work rate and good physicals on him as well for a 33-year-old. I'm quite hopeful this guy could be the difference in games. Bring them off in the 60th minute. He could be really, really helpful to unlock a team. And our final signing was a complete shot in the dark. He's 31 years of age. It's Abdullah Al-Amiri. Signed from Al Nassr. I was hoping to learn some bits from Ronaldo and how to defend. It's not really worked out that way. He's pretty average. He's on 35k a week. A bit of a stinker signing from me. And leaves the team looking quite different, but also still with a sprinkle of Wigan in there. Sam Tickle, Dion Rankine, Rees-Burke, Adebayo, and Sessegnon. So 3 out of the 5 defenders are Wigan, Tickle, Rankine, and Sessegnon. Jensen Veer is still in DM with Philip Billing. And then the front 4 is brand new with Emre Moore, Joel Aribo, Onyekuru, and Marcus Ingvartsen. I don't expect the season to be any different, and neither does the media either. 1,000 to 1. It is going to be very difficult to stay up again. We are sort of just biding our time. This is second season syndrome. I really hope it doesn't kill us. Well, this season we did very slightly improve as we faced up against Brentford, and we are going to absolutely demolish them away from home. And it certainly helps having a big centre-back in Tosin Adebayo, who scored a brace in this game in just 35 minutes. It is corner galore as Brentford do grab a goal of their own from Sambi Lokonga to make it 2-1. But overall, we were on top in this game and actually showed a little bit of quality and a little bit of class as Joel Aribo scores to make it 3-1. And we are going to grab a 4th as well and completely batter Brentford at their home stadium. And Jensen Veer to Dion Rankine is absolutely wonderful to see Wigan players linking up in the Premier League with a bunch of old men around them. And that incredibly exciting combination of old men and Wigan players gets us to 15th place in the Premier League. Again, less than 40 points, 38. But again, the bottom 3 were just worse. West Ham on 33, get relegated. Brentford on 32, we've just absolutely battered, get 32. And Sunderland with 24 miles away at the bottom. We're above Brighton and Leeds. We've moved up a place to 15th. And I think it's safe to say we are getting there. This could be a long time coming until we get anywhere close to winning the Champions League, because our reputation isn't great. We really haven't managed to improve our youth recruitment either, so we're not being bailed out by the one of the kids coming through the academy. This is our hot prospect, John Smith. He's so average. I mean, it says he can improve a lot to a 5-star. He's so average, and his name's John Smith. The most Wigan name I've ever heard in my life. He's not going to do anything, I believe. He's going to be absolutely useless. So we're going to get into season 6. Money-wise, again, never given us £50 million. We just need to keep trying to improve. The squad is aging a lot. A lot of our, better players are now gone. You can see we are now all the way down here at 31 plus in Emre Moore. So it is really just a bunch of old men. And even the Wigan players, which were young, like Sessegnon, Sam Smith, Sam Tickle, Jensen Veer, are now 27 plus. Dion Rankine's 26. So it is pretty much our own team with a bunch of old men. It is going to be a mission for season 6. Well, to be fair, there's some very decent signings this summer. Number 1 is Ademola Lookman, coming in from West Ham for £11.5 million. He has lost that burst of speed of just 14 apiece now, but he's a very clinical finisher with good mental stats, consistent, and nice big matches, and he's just 31. So he could potentially do this for another 2 or 3 years. We've also signed the cover star in Kingsley Coman. He's apparently a League One player. I think our scouts are just absolutely useless because he's still got some decent speed. He's amazing technically. His mentals are fantastic. He's very consistent. He likes big matches. I did have to allocate an ESC slot, but Kingsley Coman at Wigan after joining Man City for 101 million just 4 seasons ago for 3.1 million. Seems like an absolute bargain. They signed a backup left back in Gabriel Fuentes from Colombia. He's very well rounded, to be fair, and looks like a great player at 32 years of age. We also signed Kevin Danso on a free agent contract. Yes, he's now 30. He's been at RC Lens for 8 years at this point. He's consistent, likes big matches, outrageous physical stats to the point where he's basically our quickest player, and he's our centre back. And finally, it's Leon Bailey. we've actually made some outstanding signings this summer. A lot more pace, a lot more quality coming into the team. And when you look at the team, it looks fantastic. Sam Tickle, Sessegnon, Danso, Adebayo, Fuentes, Jensen Weir, Matt Smith, the 2 DMs still together with Bailey, Aribo, Onyekuru, and Adamola Lookman. Again, I imagine the Premier League think we're absolutely rubbish. They do at 1,000 to 1. And you'll realise I haven't mentioned a single thing about the FA Cup or Carabao Cup yet in this rebuild because we've done nothing in either. We have been absolutely rubbish in both. We have basically lost every time in the second round. It's been pretty embarrassing. I've just not shown it for the ease of the video. But this season, I actually think we're going to be much better off. We have a much better team. We have Kingsley Coman on the bench, for God's sake. Surely he's going to bring some magic. And well, that Kingsley Coman magic was, you know, looking like it was going to be there because he gave us our first victory of the season. A great finish there from Kingsley Coman on the edge of the box, and we are going to concede a couple of goals this season, but maybe Kingsley Coman can be the magical man we need as he sets up Marcus Ingvartsen to make it 2-0 before Lazar Smartovic whips it into Jared Branthwaite for 2-1. But that was the end of the game, and we're beating Everton 2-1. The only issue, that was only my second win of my whole tenure this season. Because we may have got absolutely battered in pretty much every game. We also beat Leeds 1-0 and then continue to lose. I was sacked in December and things just didn't get better for Wigan as there was only 3 wins all season and they finish on 17 points and get relegated. So the rebuild ends here in season 6. Wigan are relegated back down to the Championship, and it's impossible to rebuild a team using 30-plus-year-old players. Now, I'm happy to try this again if you guys have enjoyed the video. I don't know what else I can do. I made some unbelievable signings. I altered the tactic. I just think FM is built in a way where physical stats are so overpowered that it's pretty much all that matters. If you guys want to pick up the rebuild file, I'm going to give you season 5 and season 6 so you have Wigan in the Premier League for a Wigan fan that wants to try and rebuild them. I'm sorry I haven't managed to do it, but signing veterans only in FM and winning the Champions League with Wigan, I'm marking it down as impossible. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed a slightly different kind of rebuild. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and joining the Kempi army. A massive thank you to all of you legends, and I'll speak to you next time.